It is a beautiful evening here in Orange, California, at the heart of Orange County. Clear skies, low winds. We take you down to Wilson Field, and we've got a good one here tonight, folks. A rematch of last year's SCIAC Championship game, the Chapman Panthers versus the Pomona Pitzer Sagehens. Good evening, folks. My name is Richie Amarias, here with my partner in crime, Nico Schwegler, with the very talented Angela Hara down on the sidelines. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here tonight with you folks to watch some great SCIAC football.
No doubt about that, Richie. We got two teams in store here. 4-1 for these Chapman Panthers, 3-2 for Pomona Pitzer. Both teams atop of their divisions in the SCIAC, the only conference in Division 3 to have divisions rather than just one singular conference. But as we take a look at what both of these teams have done so far this season, Chapman in particular has been the standout team here in Southern California. Over 30 points a game to average compared to Pomona's just 18.6. When you take also a look at what they've done in the red zone, they've been fantastic. These Panthers, 18-20 compared to 11-16 for Pomona. They're still in there, and 11 interceptions, just a 7 in favor of these Panthers. Chapman doing it on both sides of the ball, Richie.
Yes, absolutely, Nico. And these Panthers have been absolutely different. For the 30 years that these Panthers have existed as a football program, this has been one of the best teams of all time. I talked to Coach Shine the other day, the offensive coordinator, and we talked about what exactly made this team different. What is the difference between this team and previous Panther teams? And what he said was not only is the personnel just, quite frankly, of higher quality, but the resilience and attention to small detail that this team possesses is absolutely incredible compared to previous teams.
No doubt. This is one of the most loaded teams in the entire conference that Coach Bob Owens has ever had. But on the flip side, Pomona Pitzer definitely has some key players of their own that we have to take a look at as we take a look at what Quentin Wimmer has done all season long. He's listed as a wide receiver, but he's a Swiss Army knife, do-it-all type of player. Been fantastic. The two-time SCIAC all-first-teamer has been on another level this season in terms of the rush, the receiving, and the pass game. Has stats in every single one of those stats, as well as when you take a look what he did against Chapman in that championship game last year. 11 receptions, 190 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the one that almost pulled off a miraculous comeback for this Pomona team last year.
Just an absolutely absurd career here for Quentin Wimmer. Just as a tight end receiver, you can put him pretty much anywhere you want, but looking at the defensive side of the ball, we have the big linebacker, Thomas McConnell, number 54. This guy is a pure tackling machine, a former first-team All-SCIAC linebacker. He has 149 so far in his career so far. So far through 5 games this season, he has 41 tackles and 2.5 tackles for loss. And this guy's going to be someone that the Panthers are going to have to look out for.
You're definitely going to have to look out for him if you're Joey Yellen under center for Chapman. As you mentioned, 149 career tackles, one away from that milestone 150, and the Los Angeles native, 2-time first-team All-SCIAC player, has been a menace since his sophomore season for Pomona.
Yes, absolutely, and it's very clear the Pomona Pitzer Sagehens have some stars on both sides of the ball, but now we're going to look at some of Chapman's key players, and we're going to start off here with number 6, the Swiss Army knife, Tyler Pacheco, and this guy's been absolutely everywhere on the field, folks. Not only is he a wide receiver, but he also plays halfback, and that's where you're going to see him a lot tonight. You're going to see him taking snaps from under center or from shotgun formation. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball, and last week he threw a 19-yard touchdown. I mean, the guy is quite literally the definition of a Swiss Army knife.
Won the SCIAC Offensive Player of the Week 2 weeks ago against Redlands when he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Had 2 more last week against CMS, and he was the one who turned around this Chapman season last year. After an 0-3 start, he came in at quarterback against CMS and flipped the script. Unfortunately got hurt, got moved to wide receiver, but as you mentioned, he's going to play a lot out of the backfield, can also be a quarterback, but we'll also see him lining up on the line of scrimmage as a wide receiver wideout. So we'll see what he has in store. As for the defensive side of the ball, Jacob Gowdy, he has been everywhere, replacing Roman Harden, who had 3 interceptions in that championship game against Pomona Pitzer last year. But Gowdy, wearing number 2 tonight, will say number 3 on his helmet. But for him to lead this team and the conference in interceptions, 4 on the season, tied for 3rd in the entirety of Division 3, he has been flying all over this field.
Yes, absolutely, Nico, and thank you so much for that. And now that we've looked at some of the top players, we're going to bring you down to the field for the presentation of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed? the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And that was an absolutely great rendition of our nation's national anthem. And we talked a little bit about Jacob Gowdy, but there's a lot of guys on this defense, that are going to be a difference maker tonight. Alex Tariquez being one of them, the middle linebacker.
Tariquez has been fantastic. David Bishop has this unit flying on all cylinders, and it's a big night for Alex Tariquez. 11 tackles away from becoming the 4th Chapman player to cross the 250 career tackle mark. Also a few more away from moving not only up to 3rd, but also 2nd. But when you take a look at the rest of this team, Colin Keefe, Rennick Martin, Caleb Padrid, Isaiah Munoz, and we cannot forget to mention the likes of Tate Zimmerman, the D1 transfer from the University of New Mexico, filling in for Hunter Headley initially this year, who graduated last year as a graduate student, but with a big loss to Cade Jordan, the reigning SCIAC Defensive Player of the Year. Tate Zimmerman has to have been the one who stepped up, and he's lived up to all the hype, Richie.
Yes, absolutely, Nico. Tate Zimmerman has been an absolute beast, and with a little bit more, we bring you down to the sideline for Angela Hara to present a little bit more.
Richie, Nico, this is going to be a great matchup tonight. We are witnessing 2 division-leading teams, Chapman versus Pomona, out here. There's definitely no doubt about it. There will be some rivalry, at least in terms of historically on the SCIAC. Now, earlier this week, I had the opportunity to speak to head coach, Chapman's head coach, Bob Owens. He tells me that Pomona is a very strong and tough team, but not also that, they're also very detail-oriented. So you can see them running right behind me. It looks like it's going to be a great game tonight. Not only that, in that discussion, he also mentioned a player that he's particularly impressed with. That's going to be number 26, outside linebacker, Tate Zimmerman. He says that he's a junior transfer from University of New Mexico, but he says that he's a very impressive kid and that he's got a lot of great hard work ethic. I talked to Tate. Tate tells me that he could not be able to make those impressive stats, those impressive plays, without the work of his team, without that group effort. So definitely a defensive player on the Chapman side that we're going to be looking forward to seeing out on the field.
Thank you so much, Angie. And Richie, when we take also a look at what this team has done throughout this year, Chapman in particular, it's been all through head coach Bob Owens. In his 18th season, he's been fantastic once again, leading this team to a 4-1 record so far, 3-0 in the conference, and so far you'd have to say that he has his boys firing on all cylinders.
He absolutely has his boys fired up, firing on all cylinders. He has 103 wins in his career here as a head coach at Chapman University, and we spoke to him the other day. We interviewed him on the field, and we talked about him trusting his coordinators, right? Casey Shine, the offensive coordinator, has had this offense firing on all cylinders this year, as well as David Bishop leading this Chapman Panthers defense to one of the best defenses in all of SCIAC.
Chapman has been unbelievable on both sides of the ball, ranking 1st and 2nd in virtually every category, not only on offense, also on defense, and they have a special teams unit which has not hindered themselves throughout this season. Jax Hudson, a phenomenal kicker, potentially a future coach. When we talked to him earlier, we'll see how much action he gets throughout this game. But we're going to take it down to the field where the referee, Jerry Springer, has the captains for this coin toss.
Also, Tristan Parrish and Lupo. So Chapman will receive the opening kickoff.
And there we have it, Nico, that the Panthers have won the coin toss and have elected to receive, and we're going to get right to the game right after this. All right, folks, it's about kickoff time here at Wilson Field. If you're just joining us, I'm Rich Yamarias, and with my friend here, Nico Schwegler, and we're ready to kick off here with Jack Susank. He's going to kick it off here. And we are good to go. We have some SCIAC football coming underway. As that's number 11. Tanking it up, but he's going to get a little extra. He's going to get a little bit extra. And he's darting down that field, and he's going to get tackled down at his own 38. What a start to this game.
What a return from John Logman, Richie. We didn't expect him to be on those kick returns. Initially, I thought it was Tyler Pacheco listed as the kick returner one, but John Logman, fantastic return to open up the game, and that's how you set the tone.
That is absolutely how you set the tone, Nico. John Logman has been an absolute stud thus far this season, and he gets a great return there to start us off.
John Logman, we're not used to seeing him on kick returns, but he's the leading receiver, surprisingly, listed as wide receiver 3, 7th in SCIAC receiving yards. Now we get our first action with Joey Yellen under center.
Absolutely. We're going to see Joey Yellen here, hoping to keep it up from a hot start last week, and we're going to see a handoff there. No, it's not. It's going to be fake, and Yellen rolls out, looking to take a shot there, and it is going to be caught. There, number 8, Amir Adams on the play. And that's going to be good enough already for a Panthers first down, and quite the quick start here for the Chapman Panthers.
I got to speak with Amir Adams as well as number 18, Jason Bruce, the 2 top receivers on this team, and they said that early in this matchup, we talked about Casey Shine earlier, he's going to take shots. We'll see how much he utilizes his wide receiver core here.
Absolutely. Loggeman in motion. He's going to hand the ball. No, he's going to throw it again to Loggeman, who gets some nice blocks up the field, and that's going to be another Chapman Panthers first down, or at least close to the marker there.
Definitely a Great play call there from Casey Shine, and that's what that inevitable rush attack does for a team like Chapman. Over 150 yards rushing for these Panthers, and when you have a guy like Gio Orsino in the backfield, the leading rusher in the SCIAC, it allows so much to open up through the play action. But now, as we talked about earlier in the pre-show, Tyler Pacheco, 3 running backs, all to his behind. We'll see what Casey Shine has cooking up here.
We'll see what's cooking. Pacheco takes the snap, and he's going to hand it off to Orsino, and he gets swarmed there by the Pomona Pitzer defense just for a few yard gain up to around the 10, 11 yard line. And if you're the Panthers, you had a pass play there, 2 good pass plays off of a great return, and hopefully you want to establish the run game with your 2 great backs, Pacheco
Illegal
and
formation,
Orsino.
offense, 5 men in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, still, second down.
Didn't see the marker there. We have a 5-yard penalty for illegal formation on the Panthers. That's going to send them back. Just joining us, folks, 13:50 left here in the first. Thank you for joining us as the Panthers had a big return from Loggeman, had a few good pass plays, and they're already down pretty much in the red zone to start us off.
And interestingly enough, we see Tyler Pacheco at the bottom of your screen. Joey yelling at quarterback. Pacheco at his listed position at receiver.
Yellen's going to take the snap. He's looking to go up the middle of the field, and that's going to be a catch right there. Number 6, Tyler Pacheco, the Swiss Army knife we talked about pre-game, getting a rep there. Not only is he able to run the ball, not only is he able to take snaps at the quarterback position, but the guy can catch, as that's going to move the chains.
5th reception of the year for Tyler Pacheco. Been all over, and he can show off the athleticism when he needs to. Yellen now having to sprint back off the field as Tyler Pacheco will be under center. Expect to see a lot of this tonight, folks. Tyler Pacheco keeping this defense off guard. That's something that they started to utilize in the Redlands game 3 weeks ago. Now they have every team in the SCIAC trembling in their boots.
And it looks like that's going to be a false start here on the Panthers. And forgive me, folks, that is a 3rd down. That will not move the chains. And looks like it's going to be
False start.
false start.
Offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty, still, second down.
And if you're the Panthers, you were humming there to open that drive with a great return and a few great plays. And they're going backwards here, Nico.
Not something you want to see out of Teddy Butner, the San Diego native, one of a few sophomores on this offensive line, a young unit. The past 2 years, it's been roughly the same unit of juniors and seniors. They're now gone. Gavin Scott, the only returner on the O-line heading into this season. Definitely not what you want to see if you're Casey Shine when he talked about penalties throughout this season.
Not at all. Pacheco takes a snap, and he's going to run it himself up the middle. And he's going to get in up to the 1-yard line, close to a touchdown, although there is a penalty flag on the play there. And it looks like it might be another one against the Panthers. And we're going to wait and see here, folks, what the field referee has to say.
Holding, offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
And that's going to be another penalty against the Panthers. That's 3 already here in this very short first quarter. And we talked the other day to Coach Shine, the offensive coordinator, and he mentioned that they want to cut down on the penalties. They have been better in recent weeks, although they would like to stop with all the silly penalties, holding being one of them. And that's going to send them all the way back after a start to a very promising drive.
Just what an incredible run there from Pacheco, showing off the physicality. But Jess Norton, the center, did not play against CMS, last week. Did end up starting his first ever game at center against Cal Lutheran during homecoming 2 weeks ago. Cannot have that if you're the Panthers this early in the game. They were primed to score. Now they're going backwards, as you just said, Richie.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a 3rd and long situation here, and looks like we got a timeout.
Timeout, Chapman.
It's going to be a timeout taken by the Panthers. Perhaps just regroup here. If you're a coach, you gotta regroup your guys here, get them on the same page, as again we had a very promising drive stalled there by penalties. And if you're Coach Bob Owens, you got to be telling your guys, like, we got to stay disciplined here.
They had all the momentum. John Loggeman, fantastic return to open up the game, got them in prime position past the opposing 40-yard line. But it's been those penalties. I'm sure that offensive line coach Scott Wolford is biting at his offensive line right now to keep themselves in this game. Right now, they've been the ones costing it, and maybe a little bit of that inexperience coming through, as Pomona Pitzer, quite frankly, a little bit lucky that some of those penalties have been called. Otherwise, it looked like Tyler Pacheco would have had us right en route for a 6-point lead.
That is absolutely the case there, Nico. And it is a very young offensive line, as we've mentioned. Jess Norton, the center, just being a sophomore. Teddy Butner out there at right guard, also being a sophomore, as well as Lane Forty also being a sophomore. So they have a lot of young guys on this line, and it's shown here with the penalties that are coming early. We bring Pacheco into motion out there. Yellen's going to step back, and he's going to just dump it off there for no gain. Attempted target for Gio Ursino, and that's going to bring up 4th down here for the Panthers.
We've seen them be aggressive throughout this season. I would not be surprised if they go for it here, especially with how well they've played. But with 3rd and 18 and that ball on the 23, you have to imagine that they're going for a shot. The top 3 receivers out there right now with Adams, Loggeman, and Bruce all the way at the top on the far side. Biebel right next to Brophy on the line.
They got 2 receivers on the left, 1 on the right. They're looking to take a shot here. And Yellen's going to step back. He's looking up the seam, and that's going to be deep, and it's going to be defended. Almost got him. I thought he had him for a second, but that ball is going to be a little too slow, and that right there was defended by number 3, Kalani Pickett, the cornerback, one who has 8 solo tackles last week and an interception. He's been playing like an absolute star, and he prevents a touchdown there for the Panthers.
Big time stop from Kalani Pickett. Did not play last week against Redlands, where Pomona Pitzer could have used him. They eked out a win at the very last second, a game-winning field goal at the very last minute by Jack Walker. But now Jax Hudson will step out there for a Chapman field goal attempt. Looks like it's going to be his longest of the year so far.
And he takes the kick. And it looks like it's going to be no good for the Panthers. So after a promising drive, as we've mentioned, they get no points. And if you're Coach Bob Owens, you got to be a little bit upset about how that drive went for his team.
That's rough. That is absolutely gut-wrenching. For such a promising start off the kickoff return, for you to end up in a field goal situation at the very least, and then for the field goal not even to go in, Chapman somehow comes up empty, and it gives a lot of opportunity for Nick Kim actually to come into this game. We thought Grady Russo would be the one starting this game for Pomona.
We absolutely did. We got a little bit of a surprise here. Nick Kim there in trips, brings receiver down into the motion, 2 split per side, and they're going to run the ball there. And that is quickly interrupted there by number 23, who was Tate Zimmerman on the play there, who we talked about pregame being an absolute monster, stopping the run there, which is a few-yard gain. 2nd down, they're loving that trips formation already twice in the first 2 plays. You're hoping to get something going here. He's going to take this now back and get some pressure, and that's batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Fantastic play from Alex Tariquez. Just the recognition that he has already. The 2 top stars for this Chapman defense, Tariquez and Zimmerman, showing why they have some of the deepest linebacker depth in the entirety of Division III. Just imagine what would have happened if Cade Jordan got to play this whole year, Richie.
Absolutely, Nico. This would be one of the top defenses in all of Deep 3, if not already it is, with Alex Tariquez there and Tate Zimmerman. We're going to see here on 3rd down what's cooking, and he's going to take it out, looking to throw, and he runs it short of a 3rd down, which means that's going to bring up 4th down. A great defensive stand for the Panthers after a disappointing first drive on offense.
Big time stand for this Panthers defense indeed, Richie. That's exactly what you need to pick up your offense, get them back out there on the field. Amir Adams, who had a punt return touchdown last week against CMS to really shut the door, will be the one to return this. But that's something that we're also going to see. That was number 16, Grady Russo, who we thought would be starting at quarterback. Definitely the definition of a dual threat. We'll see how much of Nick Kim and Russo will split time throughout this game.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of variance tonight. He barely gets the punt off. Looks like it might have been blocked there. And Adams going to take it anyways. He tricked the defense. He's going to keep going. Eventually there, dragged down. And it looked like he was just going to call for a fair catch there, but we have a penalty on the play here. As we wait, field judges are going to talk it out a little bit. It's always a little hard for the referees to figure everything out on a kick, on a punt return, as everything's so chaotic and fast, but we're going to wait and see what we have here.
Personal foul, blindside block during the return by the return team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
And a blindside block for the Panthers brings them back even more, and that's their 4th penalty of the game, which you do not want to see, especially a personal foul. That is, again, what Coach Shine talked about, those personal foul penalties. We just cannot be having that if you're the Panthers. But we have a fresh set of downs here. Short-term memory, if you're the Panthers, you want to get this drive going a bit better than the first one, and Yellen's going to take the snap and roll out directly right. And he's looking right there, and he's got him right there up to the 25. That's John Lageman, who's already been the Chapman Panthers' most important player of the game. Had a catch earlier, had a great return, and there we go. Another good catch for a Panthers first down.
The hit laid by Charlie Russo. Expect to see a lot of him against Amir Adams, but Lageman on the crosser, providing enough support for Yellen.
And here we go, a new fresh set of downs here for the Panthers. And Yellen takes a snap. He's going to fake the handoff, and boom, gets another first down quick. That is number 3, Quentin Biebel, the wide receiver, tight end, hybrid, Swiss Army knife, 6'4" senior out of Aliso Viejo, California. Use him sparingly, but when they do use him, Nico, they use him well.
He was a big-time factor in that game against Pomona last year in the championship title. Had 3 catches for 53 yards, a long of 38 for the reception. Cade Zimmerman comes into the game for Amir Adams as Pacheco under center.
Pacheco under center. We're going to see what they have here. It's always a trick up their sleeve with him. And they're going to fake it, and Pacheco's going to take it himself. And he has some blockers. Eventually, he's dragged down at about his own 45-yard line, 46-yard line, excuse me. And that's a successful play for the Panthers. You know, the thing is, Nico, Coach Shine loves to implement fakes. He loves to implement motions, and we're seeing that thus far this game. I've gotten tricked a few times.
Trickery has been through and through this Chapman program ever since Casey Shine has been in this program. And when you have a guy like Tyler Pacheco, one thing I'm impressed with, definitely the patience of both him and Ursino throughout this season.
So they send the man into motion here on second down. Yellen looking, he's going to check it down there. And he gets almost pummeled, and it's going to make something out of nothing there. Absolutely great play there by Brandon Manzano to move the chains for the Panthers for another Panthers first down. And compared to last drive where they were going backwards, even though they started this drive with a penalty, it has been a lot more successful thus far. A very balanced looking offense so far for this drive, Nico. And we have a first down. Single running back, Ursino in the backfield, and looks like there might be some miscommunication. What's going on in this offense getting settled in here? With 8 minutes, 30 seconds left in the first here, folks. The Panthers offense is humming. And they're going to hand it off there to number 20, Gio Ursino, who gets a few yards and is taken down on the opponent's 40-60-yard line there. And if you're the Panthers, you've had some success through the air, but you're yet to establish too much of a run game, at least with Gio Ursino, who, along with Tyler Pacheco, has been an absolute stud, a two-headed monster that these Panthers have been using quite a bit, especially in last week's win.
Well, every action has its equal opposite reaction, as Isaac Newton said, and Pomona right now loading up the box.
Yellen's going to step back, and he's going to take a deep shot. And number 2 there, Cade Zimmerman's going to trip, no flag, though. And after a few short plays, the Panthers are looking to take a deep shot.
Charlie Russo was in on the coverage. It did not look like there was much there. Just looked like Zimmerman ran straight into the back of Russo, wanted the flag, not going to get it on that type of play. As you just see here, Yellen has the arm to do it. There's a reason why he was a D1 quarterback at Arizona State, Pitt, and Hawaii. In his first start against USC as a Sun Devil, he threw touchdowns to guys like Brandon Ayuk, who are now in the league.
And that is absolutely insane to think about. That was 5 years ago, but Yellen's going to take it, and it is batted down at the line of scrimmage, and he was hit there really, really hard by number 97 on that play. And unfortunately, the Panthers' offensive woes will continue as they have to punt here on 4th down.
2 disappointing drives to start out. You could not have asked for anything better on that first drive, but once again, continuously, it's those little mental lapses that have allowed Pomona to stay in this game. We'll see if their offense can capitalize, but there is a reason why this Pomona-Pitzer defense has been a top 3 defense in the entirety of SCIAC. Ooh.
This was nearly blocked as we call for a fair catch down there. Duncan Lee. That'll bring the Pomona-Pitzer Sagehens back onto the field, and so far they've put up a valiant effort, and statistically speaking, these two teams have had 2 very different seasons, although not too separated by a record. The Panthers have been utterly dominant in every single facet of the game. #1 in most offensive categories, near the top in most defensive categories, and if you're the Sagehens, you gotta be pretty happy about how you're starting this game.
I mean, you can't necessarily compare them offensively, but defensively, these teams, albeit Chapman being the more dominant unit, definitely Pomona, no slouch on the defensive side.
Not at all, and the dual threat takes it, and he's going to be immediately slammed down there.
That is one Quentin Wimmer, one of our key players of the game. We mentioned earlier he is a Swiss Army knife like Tyler Pacheco, and they've been using him that way ever since he got here. Has been a 4-year starter since coming to Pomona, had over 500 yards last year in receiving, as well as 779 as a sophomore, arguably his best year with the Sagehens. We'll throw here.
Absolutely. He's going to throw here, and that's going to be out. Oh, my goodness. And they get a few extra yards on that, and that was some trickery right there. Oh, my goodness. This offense has been already humming.
That was Mitchell Rodenbaugh, the freshman out of Eastvale, California, getting his first touches of action. Not usually in for this Sagehens offense, but definitely they're trying to keep something off guard. Not a lot of quarterback use to begin this game.
Yeah, not at all, and they're trying to match the Chapman trickery here, and it's going to be a 3rd down and short situation. Number 44, Wimmer's going to take it himself, and it looks like that is not going to be enough. That's a 4th down, and oh my goodness here, folks. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but there's definitely been quite the defensive match so far.
It does look like
there is something.
Initially, it looked like Pomona's offense was considering it, but at this point in the game, 0-0, and with the woes of the Chapman offense, you would have to imagine that the punt unit does come out with Jack Walker for his 2nd time of the game. Interesting strategy. Quentin Wimmer in
We're stopping
under
clock
center.
for an equipment malfunction. Equipment malfunction. Hold on.
As it looks like there is an
All right, here we
equipment malfunction.
And I think we are all good to go here as Jack Walker is going to punt it off. Taking their time here. Walker gets it. He's going to punt it to Amir Adams. He's going to let it go for a bit. And he's just going to let that thing roll all the way down to the Panther 24-yard line. Solid punt. And again, you've had 2 drives here, Nico, which have not ended in much success despite starting off promising. And if you're Coach Shine, what kind of adjustments you need to make here?
I think you got to go back to old reliable Gio Ursino. There's a reason why he leads the SCIAC in rush yards. 93 rushes heading into tonight. That was 13 less than Justin Edwards, the 2-time reigning SCIAC Offensive Player of the Year at CMS. Those 2 have been, without a doubt, the cream of the crop, but Ursino has really established himself after being 3rd in rush yards. Go back to him and allow the pass game then to open up after that for Joey Yellen.
Couldn't agree more, Nico. We're going to see here if they go to Ursino here on the ground, and they fake it to him, and again, another rollout pass, and Yellen's just going to throw that one away as he was tightly covered there by Charles Rousseau, the cornerback too, the senior out of Bradford, Connecticut there. And I like the philosophy, again, if you are Coach Shine, you want to keep the defense on their toes. You want to keep running with fakes. I totally get it. But again, as Nico mentioned, they want to get Ursino working at some point.
And I'm not sure exactly why they're not going to him more on these 1st and 2nd downs. That's been their game plan all season long. And with Tyler Pacheco, it provides that nuance, that unorthodox approach. But when you keep on going down the sidelines the way that they have been, eventually Pomona's going to catch on.
Absolutely. And Loggeman goes into motion. And Pacheco took the snap, and he's going to take it himself for about a yard and a half up the middle. And as you said, Nico, we want to see Orsino getting a little bit more work, but that's not going to happen more than likely here as you're in a third down passing situation where you got to throw the ball. You got to let Yellen let it rip, as you've mentioned. He's been playing football for quite a long time, throwing touchdowns to the likes of Brandon Ayuk, who is an all-pro level player in the NFL and was drafted nearly 5 years ago. So the guy's been around for a while. Let it rip on third down. Would love to see another deep shot as we see what Coach Shine has here on third down. Single running back in the backfield, Orsino. And we're going to see what they got for us here. Yellen takes a snap back, and he's going to dump it off there to John Loggeman, number 11, who's going to try to make a move and dive for the first down, but it looks to be a little bit short as he stepped out of bounds and fumbled out of bounds, which, again, that's another Panther drive that's going to end in a little bit of disappointment. If you're Bob Owens and Coach Shine, you want to see a little more out of your offense here, but that brings the punter back on to the field, Carson Nichols. And Nico, we didn't see Orsino on that drive, but on a different note, if you're the Sage Hens, what are you doing here offensively?
Well, we just have to see what personnel they come out with. I mean, it's been impossible to predict what they'll do. Let's see if Carson Nichols can get this one off safely, though.
Got it off barely there. That's going to take it all the way back to around the 26-yard line. Calls for a fair catch there. And as you said, Nico, it's always a surprise today. And after they had a very gritty 10-7 win last week where the offense was quite honestly struggling a lot, they're going to mix it up here. As we've seen Quentin Wimmer, who traditionally plays the wide receiver tight end position, taking snaps at quarterback, throwing the ball.
Well, last week it was all Nick Kim at quarterback. The first 3 starts of the year, it was Grady Russo. The past 2 games, Kim came in for Grady Russo. We expected Russo to be at the helm once again tonight, but I guess when you have 2 quarterbacks, maybe you have none, so why not give it to your tight end?
Give it to the tight end Wimmer on the play. That's number 12, and they're going to take a deep shot trick play, and that's going to be caught. Number 0, Matthias Olsen, who's going to take it all the way for a Sage Hens touchdown. And oh my goodness, some trickery there on first down. And they're celebrating there in the end zone. And what a play and what a bomb there on first down. Oh my goodness. You were right, Nico. We saw some trickery on that play.
Spooky season has arrived. We're in October, folks, and we've seen a lot of tricks. Now, Pomona takes the cream of the crop with a treat. And wow, Wimmer to Wimmer, and all the way down to Olsen, the top 3 receivers. Chapman had no choice but to load the box with Wimmer at QB. And now Jack Wright has a chance to put them up by 7. Unbelievable, Richie.
Unbelievable play there on first down. As the kick is going to be good, and that makes it 7-0 Sage Hens to the Panthers. And oh my goodness, you are right, Nico. When you have a guy as dominant as Quentin Wimmer taking snaps, you have to load the box on him. You can assume that he can hand the ball off, take it up the middle himself. So it makes sense from a defensive philosophy perspective, but I don't think Coach David Bishop was expecting anything like that.
Well, Colin Keefe just got completely caught off guard. It looks like also Rennick Martin might have lost track of Matthias Olsen as Sander Wimmer, the other Wimmer, took the throw and ended up throwing a bomb down the sideline to Olsen, as Jack Susank will come back out for another kickoff. Chapman, they've won both of their games where their opponents have scored first. However, in that loss to Whitworth, when they trail at halftime, they've yet to win every single game. They've been up after 30 minutes. We'll see if this offense has any response, especially after a demoralizing first drive where they came up empty-handed, even on the field goal unit.
We will see. We will see how the Chapman Panthers respond here, hopefully looking to get a touchdown to match that. And we'll see if Chapman has some trickery of their own up their sleeves. And as you are right, Nico, it is getting late to Halloween. It is spooky season. And let's see how the Chapman offense can scare these Sage Hens. And that's taken all the way in the end zone by John Loggeman, who had the great return earlier. If you're just joining us, folks, 4 minutes and 43 seconds left. 7-0 Pomona, Pitzer to Chapman. And at first, it was a pretty defensive, scrappy matchup with both of the teams struggling to score on their opening drives. But Pomona Pitzer opens up the playbook there and gets an absolute bomb there to number 0, Matthias Olsen, who's been absolutely incredible this year. A 2023 first-team All-SCIAC player. And we're going to see here what adjustments Coach Shine makes here. We're going to as we mentioned earlier, we wanted to see a little bit more of Gio Ursino, who's been dominant this season, one of the leading rushers. If not, I believe the leading rusher here of Skyac hasn't really seen much action so far tonight, and we're going to see if Coach Shine gives him the ball a little bit here. That's taken by Yellen, and there we go. There's the man, Gio Ursino. Up for a few yards on a sweep. Up to his own 29-yard line, and that's what we're looking for, Nico, right? Even though that's only 3-4 yards, you got second and medium there. You can run with him again, and I think the Panthers are getting a little pass happy early on, and they're going to need to stick to a more balanced offense to start scoring some points.
Slow it down. That's what you need right now. Ursino has impressed me so much in his senior campaign with his patience behind those blockers. This is a massive front seven for Pomona. Every single one of them above 6 feet tall.
Yes, it is. And Ursino's going to get the nod again. And he's going to get up to around the 34-yard line. That's going to make it third and manageable, a 3rd and 1 here for the Panthers. And we asked for Gio Ursino, and we got him twice in a row. I wouldn't be too surprised here, Nico, if they go with him a 3rd time. But we'll have to wait and see. As Yellen lines up here in shotgun formation, going to hand the ball off again to Ursino, who's going to fight for a Panthers first down.
Big time drive right there to get the first down. This is what you need to see out of Chapman. Gio Ursino, reminding me a little bit like prime Le'Veon Bell when he was on the Steelers. Last year he was used mostly as a power back, especially in the red zone behind the likes of Isaiah Woods, who graduated last year. Now in his senior campaign, you're seeing a lot more patience from him, which has allowed this offense to flourish with the powerfulness of the likes of Tyler Pacheco and Fisher Huss now coming back after several weeks out injured.
Absolutely. And speaking of Pacheco, he didn't get the nod there, and he is absolutely slammed to the ground. That's number 3, Kalani Pickett. Made a great play earlier. And Pacheco is just going to get absolutely slammed there. And if you're Joey Yellen, you got to be careful not to throw that ball, as you're going to get your guy killed there. And oh my goodness, that was a dominating hit.
As you just see right there, that actually looks like it was Fisher Huss, backup running back, coming off of injury for these Panthers. Kalani Pickett, he's been all over this game. Had a big breakup against Bruce in the end zone, now laying the boomstick.
Fake to Ursino, that's going to be number 3, Quentin Biebel, who gets maybe a few yards. And again, they're kind of drifting away from Gio Ursino, but it's going to be a 3rd down in medium here. And if you're the Panthers, you got to trust Joey Yellen's arm. As we've mentioned, he has a lot of experience, D1 experience. He was asked about the transition from D1 to D3, and his response was, football is football. So we'll see how that football arm works here on 3rd down and medium. A little bit of communication with the sideline here as Ursino's in the backfield, switches to his left side. Got some good one-on-one matchups, a few guys on an island, and we're going to see if they try to exploit that. He's about to pass, and that's going to be caught. And that'll be a Panthers first down, the tight end, Quentin Biebel, who's been active early. We talked about last year, Nico. 3 catches, 54 yards in the Skyac Championship game, and they're using him tonight quite a bit.
Big time early. He's been the safety blanket, as most tight ends are for their quarterbacks. We haven't seen a lot of him early in this season. This has arguably been his best game, and we haven't even finished the first 15 yet.
Not even, and you got to feel good for him. He has not gotten too much usage so far, but he's been great so far in today's game. Yellen passing out there, and that's caught by number 8, Amir Adams, for a 6-yard gain. And we're looking to see a little bit more out of some of these receivers, including Amir Adams, who is on punt return duties. But he's going to get a good, nice 6-yard catch, which is going to bring up 2nd down here. Clock ticking down, 34 seconds left in the quarter with 20 left on the play clock. As we're going to see what's cooking here. And Joey Yellen's going to hand it off to number 20, Gio Ursino, for a solid gain on the ground there, up to nearly the 40. And barring extraordinary events, that's probably going to end this first quarter, where Chapman had some promising drives but could not get it done. But Pomona opens up the playbook and shows us all why it's spooky season with some trickery. As the quarter's looking to end, and they're going hurry up here, hoping to snap it, and that'll be the end of the first quarter. Well, that was very, very, very entertaining. Wasn't that right, Nico?
No doubt, Richie. It was a very interesting first quarter, to say the least. Chapman seemed like they were at full control to open up this game, and then you somehow managed to get a few penalties. It drives you back a little bit farther. Furthest field goal attempt of the year for Jax Hudson ends up with a miss. 0-0 on the scoreboard, and eventually Pomona Pitzer, they end up with a touchdown on a big-time trick play. Longest reception of the year for Matthias Olsen. It actually beats out his yards per game average, so quite the play. And now Chapman starting to scramble for a little bit of answers. Not quite sure what happened in that first quarter.
Yes, thank you, Nico. And the Panthers are scrambling, and they are going to hope to get it going here in the second quarter. And we're going to bring you to the second quarter right after this. Thank you, folks. Going to be taken by Tyler Pacheco, the Swiss Army knife up the middle. And that looks like it's good. That looks like it's good for a Panthers first down as we move the chains here. Aggressive to go for it there. And again, we continue to see this balanced Chapman offense taking form. And you're going to bring Ursino out into the backfield again. It's looking like Tyler Pacheco might get the snap here, and it's always going to be a mystery to see what they do. We'll love to see him throw the ball just as he did last week, try to match some of the trickery that the Pomona Pitzer Sagents had on offense. But there's going to be quite a few, two guys back there in the backfield. Pacheco taking the snap, and he's going to fake the handoff, and Pacheco's going to take it himself. He has some very solid blockers, going to get up the seam there, hits a juke, and is looking to keep getting more yards all the way down to around the 25-yard line. Good enough for a Panthers first down, and if you're the Panthers, you love to see that after a rough start on offense. You're driving down the field here, almost in the red zone, and we love to see that if you're the Panthers.
Panther fans starting to get livened up after that type of play. It's been all Pomona Pitzer on the far side near the Keck Center for Science and Engineering stands. They have those beaters that they have, which have been phenomenal for them. Joey Yellen back into the game, but Tyler Pacheco showing once again not only why we chose him as a key player, but he is an instant impact player, as I like to call him, the Taysom Hill of Division III.
Absolutely. My comparison was Debo Samuel, but Taysom Hill definitely suffices. See them in T formation. Going to give the handoff there to Gio Ursino. Not much going on that play as the O-line gets obliterated there. He's going to maybe lose a few inches there on that play, which will bring up second down and 10, that was the first play, run play, I believe the Panthers had, where they didn't get any yards whatsoever, lose perhaps a few inches, as I mentioned on that play. And Yellen's going to stay in the game, no Pacheco on this snap. But with these Panthers, you never really know who you're going to see taking snaps at quarterback. But brings up second and 10 here. Ursino in the backfield. Going to bring number 3, the tight end, to the right side of the field. And Yellen's going to take a snap back, and he's going to dump it off to Ursino, who powers his way up for a few yards, roughly a 2-yard gain there. And that was a very promising drive already. And it looks like it's going to be third down and roughly 8. So Yellen again is going to be asked to air it out here. And we're going to see what Coach Shine has for us. 12 minutes, 21 seconds left. If you're just joining us, folks, Richie Amarias here on Play-by-Play, Nico Schwegler on color commentary. It's so nice for you to be joining us tonight. We got a third down here coming up.
And an interesting formation. Not used to seeing this. Quinton Biebel as Amir Adams goes towards his side. Keep an eye out for number 3 at the top of your screen in a one-on-one with Alex Wood.
He's going to take the step back, and he's going to dump it off left. Ursino is going to get some yardage there, and it's going to be a touchdown for Gio Ursino, the beast, the man, the myth, the legend, showing why it's spooky season down here at Wilson Field. And you gotta love that if you're a Panthers fan. As Nico mentioned, this Panthers crowd is starting to get lively, and we absolutely love to see that, as that looks like Joey Yellen might have been sacked, and he just dumps it off to his left, and Ursino finds a seam and just breaks a few tackles getting into the end zone.
That might have been the most mobile play I've seen out of Joey Yellen all year long. Being able to use his legs to create space, as you mentioned. Jax Hudson knocking through the field goal extra point to tie this game up at 7. But what a play from Joey Yellen, evading the pressure, and Gio Ursino doing what he does best, making tacklers miss. And that's the response that Chapman needed. Get it to Ursino, and he's going to find an answer. That's what we've been saying all season long, and he's come through.
Absolutely, and it was one of those things that you can't really explain, but momentum. It's so important. You're in front of your home crowd, right? It seemed like most of the momentum was going in favor of the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens, who, again, last year lost the Sky Championship game. This game means more for them, right, than it would usually, because you want your revenge, right? You want a sweet taste of victory when you didn't get it last year, right? And the Panthers right there took all that momentum back with a great play by Ursino and Yellen, a connection we hope to see a little bit more tonight as we continue on with this game. And here we go. We got another kickoff coming here with the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens hoping to respond to that great play by the Panthers. That's going to be taken down by the 5-yard line. He's going to take it out. And that's a nice hit there. And that is number 22. Cannot get a read on the jersey there, but what a play made. And we're hoping for a response if you're a Sage Hen fan. And as Nico mentioned, there's quite a few of them on the opposite side of the field in front of the Keck Center for Science and Engineering with some glow-up boppers making some noise, and they're in it, and they're hoping to see their offense get a few points on this drive. As we see, 14 takes the snap, and it looks like that's going to be number 17 on the play. There's a lot of young guys getting playing time here. People we don't have on our sheets, and they're going with a youth move in here on offense.
Mitchell Rodenbaugh again. We saw him earlier taking a pass from Quentin Wimmer. Nick Kim into the game for the first time. And really outside of that trick play where it was Wimmer, Olsen, 75-yard bomb, Pomona Pitzer has really not been able to get anything going offensively. We'll see if Nick Kim can be the answer. Maybe Grady Russo on the ground and in the air, but Quentin Wimmer might be their best chance to come away with the win here tonight at Wilson.
It's always a mystery with this Pitzer offense going off against this vaunted defense, and that's going to be a shot taken downfield, and that is dropped by Matthias Olsen. And that was a beautifully placed ball right there on that play, but Matthias Olsen just could not hold on to it there, and that's going to bring up 3rd down. You wanted to take a shot there, and what a shot. What a shot that was.
That was almost big trouble for Rennick Martin, 6'4", but definitely can have some problems with the 6'3" Olsen. Nick Kim took a shot there in the backfield from, I believe, Harrison Donato coming off the edge.
Yes, he did. Kim's going to take a step back, and that's dumped off there to number 12, Xander Wimmer, and that is going to bring up 4th down, which means the punting unit's going to come back on. And if you're the Panthers, you love to see that. A vaunted defensive stand. As we expected, these linebackers and defensive line are playing well early. And as you mentioned, Nico, aside from that one trick play earlier that got them a touchdown, the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens have just been not able to communicate well on offense, have not been able to translate whatever was in the game plan onto the field. It's going to be a booming punt taken there by, I believe, Amir Adams. Going to call for a fair catch at around the 33-yard line, and the Panthers are going to come out here getting the ball.
But going forward for the Panthers right now, they're dominating every facet of this game. Over 4 yards a carry. They have more receiving yards, even with the big trick play out of Pomona. 75 yards on that passing touchdown to Matthias Olsen. They have 85, so just 10 extra throughout the rest of this game. Let's see if they keep pounding through and through with this Chapman offense. Give it to Ursino, give it to Pacheco. As it does look like Tyler Pacheco is going to be out here. Chapman, time of possession has been the name of the game for them. Lead the SCIAC with 34 minutes. That's also good for 5th in the entirety of Division III in this nation. So When you have two guys like that in the backfield, you also got Andrew Latu, Fisher Huss. Why not keep pounding that rock until that defense breaks?
Couldn't agree more, Nico. Pound the rock, trust your defense, and that's going to be given there. Number 27, Brendan Manzano, is going to get maybe a few on that carry. Looking for an end around there. Hit there by Samuel Wyatt on the play. And I couldn't agree more with that assessment, Nico. You got to trust your defense if you're this Chapman offense, who has been absolutely great so far this game, aside from one play. You got to trust your defense, slow it down, let your two-headed monster of Ursino and Pacheco grind out those yards and see what happens later. But we have Yellen back in at quarterback there with Ursino in the backfield to his left. He's going to take the snap. He's going to hand it off to Ursino. And he gets stuffed there, gets maybe a yard or two. And for as much as we've talked about the dominance of this Panthers offense, the Sagents have been, for the most part, holding their own up front. I mean, there has been not as much rushing success as you'd expect from a two-headed monster like the one that we have here for the Panthers.
Well, there's no doubt that Casey Shine did his homework coming in. Pomona allows the most pass yards in the entirety of the SCIAC. But overall, they've been phenomenal. Third in scoring as well as third in rush yards allowed. Just 20.8 points per game allowed. We'll see if Chapman can repeat what they did against CMS and put up another 30-plus burger.
And we see there a confusing play on third down and medium as they give the ball to Ursino on a sweep play, and that was going nowhere as the Sage Hens just are stuffing the run as of late. Aside from, again, a few pass plays, and it looks like they're on to punt. Very confusing play there on third down. You think you want to air it out with Yellen. But regardless, Chapman is on to punt. And that's blocked. That punt is going to be blocked. And they take it in for a touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. That is number 5, Joshua Yen, on the block. And oh my goodness, if you're the Panthers, you cannot have that. They have not been able to block block for the punter all night long. And this is an absolute nightmare scenario if you're the Panthers.
2 near misses earlier for Carson Nichols. This time Yen gets the best of him as they run it all the way back and go up by 6. Extra point impending from Jack Walker. But this game has completely been flipped on its script. Chapman been so dominant at home, and instead Pomona said, nuh-uh, why not repeat what's been done on homecoming 2 years ago, and let's walk away with another dub.
And the extra point there is going to be good. And you're right, Nico, this game has been flipped on its head 100%. And by most statistical margins, especially offensively, this game seemed like it would be Chapman's to lose. Historically, they've been 17-4 against the Pomona Pitzer Sage Hens, although the Sage Hens have had some recent success against them. You didn't expect this, especially on special teams where they've been solid all season.
17-4 is the series record in favor of these Panthers, but 2 years ago it was Pomona who marched into this building to come away with a win on Chapman's homecoming. And now they're trying to repeat the same. We talked with Casey Shine. He talked about those special teams penalties that have been costing them. That type of play right there, that's going to cost you even more. A block punt return for a touchdown, Richie. My goodness. Hubba, Pomona Pitzer seems like they're on their way to another big-time upset if this continues.
Yeah, and if you're the Panthers, you just can't let this continue whatsoever. You got to respond. You got to respond big. And here we go. Jack Susanka to kick it off. That's going to be taken at the Panthers' own 5-yard line. And it's looking like he's going to get stuffed up the middle, up to around the 27-yard line there. As the Panthers are wanting to respond after a blocked punt. We certainly did not expect the game to go like this, especially after this week the Coach Bob Owens and the coordinators talking about special teams penalties, emphasizing the importance of special teams and being locked down on special teams. We did not expect to see 2 nearly blocked punts and a fully blocked punt here from the Panthers.
Stunned is the perfect way to describe it, Richie. And when we talked with Coach Shine and Coach Owens, they said talent without discipline. They have all the talent in the world, but without the discipline, it's only potential. And right now, a lot of what-ifs for this Panthers offense in particular.
A lot of what-ifs as Joey Yellen hands it off to Gio Orsino, who's going to get a few yards there, down roughly 4 yards up to the 34-yard line, says the field referee. That'll bring up second down. And even though Chapman has struggled a little bit this game, I do respect them sticking to their philosophy. They're not getting too pass happy, which is kind of what happened earlier. They're still sticking to that run game, stick to that offensive philosophy, run the ball, ground and pound, and we're going to see what comes up on second down. So it looks like there's a little bit of communication going on the sidelines. Yellen looks to Coach. Looks to Coach Shine for a play, and Yellen saying, hurry up, snap the ball, and it will be snapped, and that's going to be muffed and taken by Orsino, who's going to take it all the way up to the 45-yard line, but there's going to be a few markers down on the play, and you're wondering if that's going to go against the Panthers. More than likely will be going back, as all the Panthers walking back dejected as the refs talk about it for a second.
And on that type of play,
Holding offense. Number 57, 10-yard penalty. Second down.
indeed it does go against the Panthers. And on that type of play, all hell breaks loose. Can't be surprised that that type of penalty occurs for this offensive line, but we've been so impressed with them. They're so young, so inexperienced coming into this season. They've gelled so nicely. They've been fantastic, in the words of Coach Bob Owens. But so far this game, they just have not had the same focus that we talked about earlier with these coaches, as well as some of these players earlier in the week. There seems to be a different air right now. That air has been sucked out of this building.
There absolutely is, Nico. That was number 57, Colin Brophy, on the penalty there, and that's going to knock them back at 10 yards from where they got. And that would have been nice to have, as that was a great play by Gio Orsino. Yellen stepping back, looking to take a shot, and he's going to roll out right, getting chased, running for his life. Another penalty on the play. Thrown there to number 11, John Lagerman, and that's going to be broken up. It's going to be broken up there, and there's another flag on the play. Tell me if you've heard that one before tonight. And it would not be surprising to me if that was going back against the Panthers on another holding penalty, but we're going to have to wait and see.
Holding offense. Number 57, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Third down.
And that is absolutely brutal. That's going against the sophomore out of San Clemente, Colin Brophy, number 57, who was just called for a penalty. So quite a rough night for Colin Brophy, already having 2 penalties in a row, knocking his team pretty much out of range to get a first down. But we're going to see what the Panthers offense has in store for us on a very, very long distance to get a first down. But 9 seconds left on the play clock. Joey Yellen, the usual shotgun formation with the running back out there in the backfield. And he's going to throw it there to John Lagerman, who gets a nice block. And it looks like there's another penalty on the play that is more than likely going to go against the Panthers. And this is unbelievable. 3 penalties in a row. I mean, if you're Coach Bob Owens, you got to be fuming there on the sidelines, Nico.
They look dejected right now, Richie. No other way to describe it. It seems like all the energy in this sideline, over 100 players. And as for the 11 out there on that offensive side, it seems like they can get nothing going. Anytime that they have anything going forward, it seems like it's coming back due to those yellow flags flying all the way from Timbuktu to Wilson Field. As you just take a look here once again, John Lagerman, maybe a chop block. I think that was Amir Adams out of frame.
Yeah, it looked to be a chop block on the plan. You know, although that was a very, very far distance to get a first down, that was not a terrible play to get them in better range on the play. And there's been a few plays like that tonight where Chapman has a solid play and it just comes coming right back because of a penalty. And it's been really unfortunate to see, as this is a very talented Panthers team who has done things right for the most part the entire season, as we go down to the field to see what the judge has to say.
Holding offense. Number 18. The penalty has been declined. Third down.
And that's number 18, Jason Bruce, on a holding penalty. Pomona's going to decline the penalty and just take the third down and long here. And if you're the Panthers, take a shot. Let's see what Joey Yellen has here. Former D1 guy. Let's see what he has. He has this very strong arm, game manager type. Let's see what he's got here on third down. Yellen's going to step up and watch out from behind. And that looks like that's going to be a pass interference. That's number 6, Tyler Pacheco, where the pass was incomplete, but very clearly he was tugged down there. And if you're the Pomona Pitzer Sagehens, you got to be furious, as that had no chance of being completed. And Pacheco is going to move the chains here.
What a get out of jail free card for the Panthers. Yellen almost sacked from the backside by number 97 on the Sagehens. And it looked like that was number 48, Ben Porter, the outside linebacker from Seattle. Just lost a little bit of his head right there, and he got up to celebrate. Not quite sure what happened there.
Pass
very
interference.
clearly.
Defense, number 47. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Unreal mistake right there. You cannot have that if you're Pomona. That feeds a little bit of life back into this building, allows Joey Yellen to settle back down. It looks like he'll come out for Pacheco under center. But now if you're Chapman, we've been talking about this the entire first half, Richie. Give the ball to your running backs. Allow the run game to establish, because right now, as poor as the pass defense has been for Pomona, they've been able to handle it sufficiently well. Get the rock downfield.
Yeah, and here we go on first down. They're going to crowd the box. They're expecting a run, and they expected right. That's going to be a run there. Ursino on the carry, good for maybe a yard, and they loaded the box heavy on that play. I mean, they expected a run, absolutely. If you're Pacheco, maybe audible that one, but looks like Pacheco is going to stay in the game. Excuse me, no, he is not. Yellen is coming back in. And you're going to be put in a second and long situation here. But again, if you're Coach Shine, you got to keep sticking to that offensive philosophy. Balanced offense. Don't get too pass happy here. There's one running back in the backfield. Trips left. It's going to be faked out, and that's going to be thrown there. And getting a few yards on the play.
And just looked like Nick Tawney couldn't get his hands on it. Tawney been instrumental in a few of these past wins. Doesn't get the most reps. Probably wide receiver 7, wide receiver 8 on the depth chart for Bob Owens and this offense. But he's come up clutch right there. It just seemed like Joey Yellen underthrew him a bit. And Chapman, this offense continues to stagnate, Richie. They need to find some type of flow. They had it in that first drive, and ultimately it was those penalties that cost them. But we'll see if Bob Owens, Casey Shine, maybe you go to the trick plays like Pomona was able to do. So far, no touchdowns from either quarterback on Pomona's side. Quentin Wimmer was the one to throw, with Sander Wimmer actually being the one throwing the last pass to Matthias Olsen, and then a block punt for the touchdown. You have to give a lot of props, though, to what John Walsh has done with his Pomona side here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Going in, again, statistically, Chapman had dominated Pomona Pitzer in many offensive categories. Defensively, very similar, but again, those coaches over there on the Pomona Pitzer sideline have prepared this team extremely well. The Panthers have not been able to run the ball as they usually have with that two-headed monster in the backfield, and we're going to see what this defense has, who's been very solid so far, especially on this drive, this game. We're going to see what they got here for Joey Yellen and the Panthers. That ball is just going to be handed off, and it looks like it's fumbled there by Ursino, but recovered there by number 57, Colin Brophy.
And a key awareness play there from Brophy. Obviously got called for those 2 penalties earlier that put Chapman in this situation. Gio Ursino saw it right after the play, ripped his mouth guard right out of his mouth. Furious with himself. He struggled a little bit with ball security throughout this season. Definitely not what you want to see going forward, as Chapman has to mount a comeback.
Not at all. We're going to see another punt. Hopefully they can block this time, as last time they did not have a lot of success. Of course, that punt being returned for a touchdown, and looks like he's going to be able to get it off, and that's going to be Duncan Lee down deep. He's going to catch and run right out of bounds around the 21-yard line. And if you're the Sagehens, this is a huge moment to capitalize on this lead. You're very confident in how your defense has played so far, and you're very confident in how undisciplined the Panthers have been thus far. And so a score of any kind, whether that's 3, 6, or 7, or 8, would be absolutely huge for the morale of this Sagehens team. And we're going to see what they got for us, as Sagehen's huddle up and break formation. Never can really tell who's playing quarterback here for the Sagehens, but it's going to be
Trick
number
play.
4. Backs it off, and that's a trick play. He's going to get another block out there and absolutely pummels a Chapman defender on the play there. And looks like we got an injured player down on the sideline.
That was Carson Green, the quarterback. So all the quarterbacks being used right now for Pomona. We've seen Kim, we've seen Russo, we've seen Quentin Wimmer, who's listed as wide receiver 3, also a tight end. Now Carson Green comes into the game. It looks like Seth Holbrook, I believe, took the brunt of this damage as he gets flattened. That entire Pomona bench was loving it.
But we have a player down there, and we hope that everything's all right as the medical team tends to him. We really do hope that he is okay, but that was quite a trick play, and they do come out with more trickery there as expected to sort of match what Chapman's been doing. But right now we just wait for an update on the sideline. You see all the players on the sideline taking a knee, of course, in hopes that their brother, their teammate is all good. And, of course, Pomona Pitzer as well taking a knee, showcasing good sportsmanship.
This is just devastating for Chapman. You don't want to see Seth Holbrook. It looks like he's getting up now. Great to see for him. We'll see if he's able to continue. Maybe we'll get an update later from our very own Angela Har on the sidelines. But as for Chapman as a team, this is not the team that was receiving votes for top 25 for the first time since their loss to Whitworth in week 2. They just have not looked like they've been focused. The defense has been there for the most part, but these trick plays are catching them somewhat off guard. The offense, though, where has it been? It hasn't been anywhere to be found in terms of consistency, being able to find some type of play style. And I think Joey Yellen has done a fantastic job under center, but you also have to wonder, maybe, just maybe, is Luke Peterman a viable option in this second half potentially to get this offense back on track? He led them to the SCIAC Championship, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns against Pomona last year on this very field to win it all. Maybe, just maybe, Bob Owens goes back to his now QB2, who opened up the season with 3 straight starts.
And I would not be surprised. I mean, Nico, they're running it on 3rd down and long. They look like they've lost all confidence in Joey Yellen. So perhaps a quarterback switch after halftime is the route that Bob Owens and Casey Shine are going to go with. But we're going to have to wait and see as the Panthers have to make a stop here. They got absolutely gushed on a trick play there for quite a few yards on that last play. And we're back again to see more trickery from the Sagehens. He's going to roll out and just chuck it downfield, and that's going to be intercepted. Intercepted by the Panthers. And that's number 1, the big 6'4" senior out of Chula Vista, California, Rennick Martin on the pick. And that is what they absolutely needed, the Panthers, after a devastating injury to one of their key players. And the offense is going to get the ball back.
Great heads-up play there from Rennick Martin. Just his 2nd career interception. Uses that length to be difficult to go against in the pass game. Plenty of passes deflected. Only his 2nd pick of his college career. Has to feel good for him. And that was also a problem for Grady Russo last season. Came in as a freshman, now as a sophomore. He struggled with turnover issues. Once again, that was just on a platter for Chapman's number 1 CB.
Absolutely. Yellen back in the game here is going to fake it off. Is going to throw it, and it looks like it was almost intercepted. Almost nearly intercepted on the very next play.
And Joshua Yen is having himself a day right now, Richie. Gets the return on the blocked punt. He's on the score sheet here tonight, as well as some big-time pass breakups. He had one on a penalty that was called back for Chapman, and right there, almost. It looked like he was going just for the hit stick, maybe not realizing that he had a shot at the ball. Joey Yellen, that really just looked like a prayer to Amir Adams, seeing what he could get.
Absolutely, that was a prayer, and there was no need for that prayer to be called for. I mean, it's 1st down, and you're Joey Yellen. You've had a lot of experience. You got to be better than that. as Orsino gets the handoff with some very solid blocking there. He's going to take a little spin dive down for about a 5-6 yard gain to the Sage Hens 45-yard line. And it's good to see Orsino getting involved and bringing up a 3rd down and reasonable. 3 minutes, 5 seconds left here in the second quarter. If you're the Panthers, you're going to want to score here before half, whether that's 3, 7, or 8. Joey Yellen back in shotgun. 2 to his right, 1 to his left. A little more communication going on between the sideline and Joey Yellen here. The Panthers hope to reset here on 3rd down, a very crucial 3rd down for the Panthers. And they're going to run it. And Orsino takes the first hit, but bounces off that. Good for a Panthers 1st down. And Gio Orsino, that is the burst that we've been expecting to see all game from the star leading rusher of Skyac. And that was a great play call. Halfback draw up the middle, bounces off a tackle, and just uses his brute strength. As you mentioned, Le'Veon Bell earlier as a comparison. I mean, that's a great comparison for Orsino. Very patient running back with great strength. And we're going to see here what's going to go on, but it looks like they're not going to be able to run a play as we bring here the 2-minute warning. And a great last play before the 2-minute warning by Orsino.
And a fantastic bit.
And we are back here from the 2-minute warning. And the Panthers hope to score. Joey Yellen in shotgun once again. He's looking deep, looking for his man, and that is going to be incomplete.
Nick Tawney, the target. Already seeing quite a few targets for him here from Joey Yellen on that out-breaking route. But I still say go for the rush. I know you're 39 yards out, 39 and a half yards out, but that's what's been working. Give it to Gio Orsino. As good as this D-line and front seven has been for Pomona, that's where Chapman's been able to find a little bit of fluidity, whereas the pass game has been very stop-start since that first drive.
Staz, and that's a fake out there. 25, and that's going to be a screen pass that was attempted there by Yellen. Attempted the pass to Orsino, and there's going to be nothing going as the Panthers O-line gets absolutely swarmed by this standout Pomona Pitzer D-line who has played well for the vast majority of the game, especially on a rush defense. And Panthers offense is going to stay out there. And you want to get something here, even if it's to set up a 4th and short situation. If you're Joey Yellen, take the easy pass. And Casey Shine has been sort of straying away from all these motions, and that's what the Panthers need right now. They need some trickery. They need to show the defense some different looks as Joey Yellen steps back and is going to check it down to Orsino, and that pass is going to be dropped. An uncharacteristic mistake for Orsino, although he would have gotten popped had he caught that pass. And quite a disappointing sequence of events for the Panthers as
that just sums up the first half. That just sums up the first half right there,
yes.
Richie. Goes through the 5-hole. Really nothing you can do, and the worst part about that is that with 3 timeouts left for Pomona, they have 1:48 right now to drive down the field. Duncan Lee, a fantastic returner for the Sage Hens back there. We'll see if Carson Nichols can pin him deep.
Yeah, you hope to pin him deep. And that's going to be a short punt there and a fair catch called. And he is deep in his own deep in his own red zone, but again, with 3 timeouts, Nico, as you mentioned, 1:40 left. You never know what can happen any given Saturday. And again, 3 timeouts. You have a very, very fluid and confusing offense here for these Panthers to understand. And with this much time and the timeouts that you have, we're going to see some aggressiveness here.
Panthers D has to be disciplined here. Nick Kim in the game at quarterback.
Yes, they do an 84 in motion. And they're going to pitch it out there. And it looks like we got some blockers, but not good enough. Alex Tariquez, number 0, the middle linebacker, first there.
Brought down by Alexander Rodriguez at the 18-yard line. 19-yard line. Second down.
That was taken there by, I believe, Jack Susank. Up for a few yards. And it looks like there's some personnel changes going on, but that seems to be every single play for the Sage Hens. You never really know what's coming. It'll bring up a 2nd and 6 situation here. The Panthers, again, as you mentioned, Nico, must stay disciplined. Don't want any penalties, and they've been good about that for the past few drives, but of course don't want to jinx it here on 2nd and 6. That's going to be ran right and brought down before it could even get back to the line of scrimmage. Which is a great defensive play there, and if you're the Sage Hens, you probably want to pass in this situation, but it looks as the half sort of comes to a close. That aggressiveness is going to wean. We get a timeout here for the Panthers.
That's a big time stop. Carson Green came into the game. We saw him earlier with a rush. The 3rd string quarterback for John Walsh and this offense. Right now, you have to be disciplined if you're this Panthers defense. Nothing downfield. And as for Pomona, it's a bit concerning right now when your best passer might be Quentin Wimmer, who threw down that check down. It might actually be Sander Wimmer, his brother, who threw about a 30-yard air pass. Matthias Olsen taking it the rest of the way to the house. But right now for Chapman, stay disciplined on defense. Allow Tate Zimmerman, Alex Tariquez, Isaiah Munoz to go to work on that defensive line and allow your DBs to play back in coverage. Nick Kim, it looks like he's coming out there, so they do have a true quarterback out for the Sage Hens, arguably their best pocket passer on the team.
Arguably, and in a 3rd and long situation with the circumstances that are at play, I would not be surprised if they try to draw a penalty deep, just trying to get the Panthers to be a little undisciplined, which they have been all game. Would not be surprised, as that's going to be dumped off there and some extra yardage, and that is going to be a 1st down.
That looks like it was Mitchell Rodenbaugh once again, the freshman. I'll continue to say his name. He may not be in with these starters, but he's making his presence known, and maybe that low-lying name not on the radar of Bob Owens and David Bishop, catching them a bit off guard.
Definitely has caught them off guard thus far this game as we get a Sage Hens 1st down. Nick Kim, it looks like, is back in the game. Nick Kim steps back to pass, and he's going to dump it off there. Same guy, and nothing going there. That one is going to go for a loss, and that's the big star outside linebacker, Tate Zimmerman, number 3 right there for loss.
At the 26-yard line.
And that's what you want to see from the Panthers defense after some rough drives, some very rough, undisciplined drives from this defense.
Overall, the defense has been solid, I have to say, though, Richie. They've been bend, don't break for the most part. They've held this Pomona Pitzer offense in check outside of that one trick play. Looks like the Sage Hens will start walking it off towards their locker room. Offense still out there, but it does look like we are going to go into the half 14-7. We'll be right back after this with this first half recap.
And welcome back, folks. If you're just joining us, Richie Amarias and Nico Schwegler here on the broadcast for you all tonight. It was quite the first half here as the Panthers struggled mightily to score any points there. And Nico, if you're the Panthers, what do you have to do to get back in this game?
Disappointing. It was quite frankly disappointing and undisciplined for a team that's averaging over 30 points a game, 33 to be exact, to put up just 7 points on the board in that first half. They didn't get any continuity going in the pass game. The rush game showed glimpses of greatness with Gio Ursino, but as for this Pomona Pitzer Sage-Hens defense, they've been disciplined all night long, something that we haven't seen so much out of Chapman's offense, and that's what's been able to keep them in this game. Trick play from Pomona's offense, a blocked punt, puts them up 14-7 at the break, and now for Coach Bob Owens, first real test that they've had since Cal Lutheran after a dominating performance at CMS last week.
For sure, Nico, and I think one of the big talking points that I briefly mentioned earlier in the broadcast is Casey Shine has got to get back to those motions, right? Has got to get back to his trickery, right? We sort of see sometimes this happens in the NFL is once a team goes down, they sort of get away from their identity, right? But as we've discussed, you got to keep your game plan going, right? You got to keep the rush going. You got to keep running with Ursino. We didn't see as much of Tyler Pacheco for whatever reason. We didn't see as much of him, and we need to see more of him in this second half if the Panthers want any chance to win.
You have to see that definitely with Tyler Pacheco in particular. His novelty provides so much for this Chapman offense through all the things that he can do as we take a look at what's happened in this first half. As we see 14-7 to score in favor of Pomona. But it's been Chapman on the offensive end. Despite how poorly they've played with discipline, they're still beating out Pomona Pitzer, who's had nothing to go. We've seen 4 guys under center for them. I'm not even sure, quite frankly, who's taken the most snaps for these Sage-Hens and John Walsh. But now for Chapman, the defense has been phenomenal so far. You need a little bit more out of special teams. That block punt, missed field goal, that might be what cost you the game. But as for the Chapman offense, you have to see what's in your cards. And right now, something's got to give for them, especially in the rush attack.
I mean, without that blocked punt, I mean, it's a tie game right now. As we look here, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from tonight's game. Thus far, of course, we see Joey Yellen throwing it there, and quite a good catch by the Swiss Army knife, Tyler Pacheco. Bring it back to this trick play from the Wimmer Bros, going all the way deep. It's Matthias Olsen, an absolute dot, going all the way for a touchdown, the longest touchdown of his season so far. An absolutely electric play, points to the camera, to his folks back at home, and we see another player that got the Chapman Panthers a touchdown, a scramble from Yellen to the star running back, number 20, Gio Ursino. He's hyped, he's a star, and he got his team a touchdown there. And here we see the blocked punt by the relatively unknown Joshua Yen, number 5, who's had quite the game for himself today, and he gets a blocked punt on that play. And his teammates very proud of him as thus far this season he has been a relative unknown. But as we see here, another play from the Sage-Hens, and this is going to be the interception, of course, by the big Rennick Martin, cornerback 1.
Our 2003 championship baseball team, Tom Turnischuk. From the class of 2001 soccer player, Lahua Simmons Wardell. From the class of 96 and 99, men's soccer player Craig Bennett. Representing the 1968 championship baseball team, Coach Ed Peck. From the class of 1986, volleyball player and current head coach Barry Cahill. Women's athletics pioneer from the Hall of Fame class of 1999, Penny Rush. From the class of 1979, basketball player Marvin Thurman. From the class of 1968, from the baseball team, Bob Zamora. Also from the, that's it. Got them all. We're going to go to the new ones now. All right, so let's meet our newest class. Our first inductee was a 3-time All-American in the discus from Chapman's Division II era, from the track and field class of 1983, Eric Van Skyke. Eric is the latest Hall of Fame inductee from an era of the late 70s and early 80s of dominant Chapman field athletes. He still holds the school record for the discus throw and takes his rightful place among the other dominant athletes of the era. Please join me in congratulating one more time, Eric Van Skyke. Our second inductee was the 2007 NCAA Division III Pitcher of the Year and a two-time All-American. Ladies and gentlemen, from the baseball class of 2007, Devin Drag. Devin had a dominant career on the mound with a 30-2 career record. He was 16-0 as a senior, a record that still stands today, and led Chapman to 3 Division III World Series appearances in 4 years. He graduated with Chapman's career ERA record, and his name is still all over the record books. Fans, one more time, Devin Drag.
And I swear I put my life on it. Can't believe fruit grew from the stripe of it. Neck used to have a knife on it. Looking in the mirror, now I got that ice on it. And it's iconic, and it's ironic. I'm getting paid just to put together phonics. Had to keep my focus, had to counter locus. Dreamed about this moment even when I felt the lowest. Now I'm making waves, yeah, I feel like roses. Heat turned up when I was state of coast. You ain't gotta love me, but you're gonna notice. 10 toes down, you can keep the roses.
My name is Alex Tariquez. I'm number 0, and I play linebacker.
Yeah, Amir Adams, number 8, wide receiver, punt returner.
I'm just glad I got to be a part of it on the team that got that 100th win for him. I know football means a lot to him. It's his whole life. Chapman means so much to him, and he cares a lot about every single guy in this team, every one of the staff, you guys that help out with the games.
Yeah, I mean, Coach O knows we got a target on our back. I mean, every year we do, whether we win or lose this kayak. He's preached us about how important the opportunity is and how big the opportunity is that we have this year.
Our job is to work harder than anybody in this conference. Our job is to work hard for a championship.
Just a memory, I got really close with him my sophomore year because I was struggling academically my freshman year, and that's when I really got close with him, and he cares about who you are after Chapman, not just on the football field.
I could speak for all the other players when I say, like, he really is a father figure, and, like, he'll do anything for us, and he's big on growing players as players, but also as men. More importantly, because he knows we have a life after football, life after Chapman.
For example, he doesn't let us do any of the frats or Greek life here, and it just forces us to build that chemistry on the team with each other and really buy into the program, because the more you buy in, the more you'll get out of it.
Thank you, Coach, for all you've done for me, and then obviously everything you've done for the team, and then let's go get this back-to-back championship.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. I'm super grateful for him. Coming to Chapman was the best decision I've ever made, and he's been a big part of that whole experience. So I'm super blessed and grateful for him. Yeah.
All right, folks, we are back here in Orange, California. My name is Richie Amarias, here with my partner in crime, Nico Schwegler. Nico, tell us a little bit about what we've seen so far tonight.
Oh, Richie, it's been chaotic. It's been all over the place right now for both of these teams. We've seen 4 different quarterbacks come in for Pomona Pitzer. We've seen a lot of discontinuity on the offensive side for Chapman. We'll see if Pomona's able to come out with a bang as they will receive this second half kickoff. But for Chapman going forward, maybe a quarterback switch in the cards. Who knows? They need to get back to the run game, though. That's what we've been preaching all night long. And right now, that 10th straight SCIAC win. They haven't lost since last year against Cal Lutheran in the early goings of the season. Right now, that's in jeopardy with Pomona Pitzer playing a very efficient game on defense. And right now, if the offense starts to click, we'll see if they have anything going.
Absolutely, Nico. And the Panthers set to kick it off here. It'll be number 46, Jax Hudson, junior out of Perrysburg. Deep kick there, and it looks like that's going to be a great play right there. Number 0, Alex Tariquez, just swarms in there, and then a late penalty thrown by the field judge in the middle. It looks like this might be a personal foul penalty, as this came in way after the play.
This would be killer right now if this is against Chapman. You cannot afford these special teams penalties. We saw it in the first half, a blocked punt. See what Jerry Springer Jr. has on the call. Head referee here tonight at Wilson Field. But right now, Pomona Pitzer, we'll see who's even in that quarterback. You can't even predict their game plan right now based on what they're putting out there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Kicking team, number 24.
And it is going to be yet another personal foul call, an unnecessary roughness call against the Panthers, which is going to give the Sage Hens another 15 yards. And Nico, as you mentioned, this is not the way you want to start off the second half. You kind of had a momentum reset there with the end of the quarter, or with the end of the half, excuse me. And it's time to start anew, but unfortunately the Panthers can't escape the penalty bug early. And they send their star Quentin Wimmer in motion all the way back in another trick play. And they're going to get a few yards, swarmed by a bunch of Panthers there.
That was Sander Wimmer, the 5th different player, wide receiver 2 for these Pomona Pitzer Sagehens. 5th different player to line up under center, take the snap. He was the one that actually threw the lone touchdown for Pomona Pitzer, a 75-yard bomb to Matthias Olsen in that first half. Now Nick Kim back into the game. Right now it's all over the place. QB carousel indeed.
Indeed, QB carousel, but Nick Kim takes a snap and he's gonna pitch it out there for a pretty solid gain there on 2nd down, up to around the 39-yard line. Again, the Sagehens stealing a little bit from the Panthers playbook, getting a little tricky here and switching it up, posting forth a very balanced offense, and Nick Kim is gonna stay in the game here on 3rd down, and he's gonna more than likely have to throw, as we see 3 receivers to the right, trips right with 1 running back in the backfield there.
Keep your eye, though, on Matthias Olsen at the top of your screen.
Yes. It's gonna be thrown, and he jumps the route, and that's gonna be intercepted by the Panthers. That's number 9, Caleb Madrid. What a play, and he read that just like a book, folks. Caleb Madrid, the star cornerback to the sophomore.
Unreal. What a jump on the route. I mentioned, watch Matthias Olsen at the top of your screen. Caleb Madrid had his eyes on him the whole time, anticipated the route to perfection, and the Dublin native coming over from San Francisco Community College here at Chapman University now, 3rd pick of the season for him. Number 9 is living high on cloud 9.
Absolutely, he is on cloud 9. Read that just like grandma during story time. I mean, what a play. And we have Joey Yellen here back out for the Panthers. No QB switch, as Nico insinuated earlier, and that's going to be pitched to John Lageman, and helmet comes off and nothing going, as the Panthers are going to lose a big chunk there. And again, we talked a little bit about Casey Shine's offensive system here, and no need to overcomplicate there on 1st down. I mean, that's a dangerous play to run after you got a lot of that momentum back. I mean, you're going to want to just hand that off or even go back in the air, but you pitch it back and you're going to lose 5 yards, as this brings up a 2nd and long for the Panthers.
This is big now, because with that miss from Jax Hudson, we'd heard earlier in the week that they've been practicing a 56-yarder. With that missed field goal earlier, now you have a little bit less trust.
And that is another muffed play there, and that's going to be Sida Peretti on the tackle. Just dominates up there up front. Again, the O-line for the Panthers has been very solid all game, but again, the youth shows there against the big 6'3" senior from Birmingham, Michigan. And here's some booze raining in here on 3rd down as Joey Yellen takes the snap. Pressure quick, and he's going to get it off to John Lageman there. He's going to look for some extra yards, and he's absolutely pummeled up to the 31-yard line there by a few Sagehen defenders, and we're going to see what they do here.
Lageman's been socked a few times here. Now on the 32-yard line, we saw Jax Hudson miss one earlier from around this range, As I said previously, they'd been practicing a 56-yarder with him in practice these past few weeks. That would have to be on the 39, right now on the 32. But with the way that they've been performing right now, I think you got to go for it if you're Bob Owens. Aggressive play style as always.
And Coach Shine's going to go for it as max protect, and Joey Allen's going to step back and step up, and he's going to take a shot there. And that's going to be incomplete, but a flag comes in. A flag comes in, and perhaps we're going to move the chains here for the Panthers, as it looks like he might have got to him a little bit early, but the field judges might have to talk about it.
Duncan Lee shaking his head. He was the one in on the play. Great job of awareness in the pocket for Yellen to step up. This ball on a platter. Not quite sure if there's anything there from Duncan Lee, but it looks like it is enough for them to call the penalty. Maybe a bit controversial, not exactly what John Walsh would want to see out of this referee crew at this point in the game.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, in the replay there, we did not see much contact, and I don't know if I would have called that there if you're the referee, but they get a get out of jail free card as Yellen steps back, and immediately he's just going to throw a pick to the defense, and that was just thrown directly to the defense. I mean, there was no one there. Yellen just floats it up there. And Charles Russo comes up big again with the interception. As I'm not sure what Joey Yellen was looking at here. I know he was going all the way perhaps for Cade Zimmerman, but there was no separation there, and that gives the Sage Hens all the momentum in the world to come back and try to storm down the field.
Well, miscommunication, 6'3" Zimmerman versus 5'9" Russo, but he underthrew that one, and now Pomona Pits are right back in business.
And looking, and that's going to be a sack right there. The big linebacker we talked about in pregame, Alex Terriquez on the sack. One of the best, most dominant players in Chapman's short 30-year history, one of the all-time leading tacklers of the Panthers, and he gets in there and gets a much-needed sack after a very demoralizing interception by Joey Yellen.
And we saw Quentin Wimmer early in this game. Now his brother Sander Wimmer under center.
Sander Wimmer is going to come out, and he has some space and is going to be absolutely clocked by a swarm of Panther defenders there.
And if I'm Chapman's defense, you have to play discipline, no doubt about that, but right now you need to play physical. You need to be bullies on that side of the ball. We've heard it before. Ray Lewis, a mean person to go against. You need to be that type of person if you're Alex Terriquez and the rest of this unit. Strike some fear into them, get the crowd going, and give your offense something to go forward with, because right now you're the only ones keeping Chapman in this game. You need your offense to come along for the ride eventually.
Our defense has played stellar so far this game. 3rd and 12, and he's going to evade the pressure, step out. He's going to be driven to the sideline, and he has nothing going there. As he is sacked there, a number 16 in the backfield, and we have an injured player hopping up and down. He's able to get off the sideline. That's going to bring the punt unit on for the Sage Hens here. And what an outstanding defensive stand there for the Panthers after a demoralizing and quite honestly confusing interception by Yellen. They get it back. Alex Terriquez in the defense picks the offense up, and we're going to see the offense get the ball again here, folks. That's going to be number 8. Taking it deep, calling for a fair catch there. That is Amir Adams.
It looks like we got down on the Chapman sideline.
Looks like we got a flagger on Chapman's sideline, and it looks like this is going to be another personal foul type penalty, as there was nothing on that side of the field whatsoever, and it was called late. So we're going to have to wait and see as the field judges take a second to talk about it. But talk about discipline all game, Nico, and if this is going against the Panthers, this will be another disappointing moment in a game filled with a lot of those moments.
If it is, it would be the 8th penalty of the game. You'd have to assume if it's a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, anything of that type of nature, that's 15 yards going backwards against Chapman. We'll see what Jerry Springer Jr. has. He's been calling the Panthers number all night long.
Personal foul, block out of bounds by the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
And you're starting to hear the crowd get a little rowdy here, as again, this was the 8th penalty of the game on the Chapman Panthers, and that's going to bring him back 15 yards. But regardless, the offense can't do much about that. They have to keep playing the game, keep up with their offensive philosophy, and I'd love to see, Nico, some Tyler Pacheco. It's been a while since we've talked about him, and he's in there right now, as we see, which is absolutely amazing for the Panthers, who have not been using him much since one of those first few drives at the beginning of the game, but they sort of shifted away to letting Joey Yellen throw the ball, which so far has not worked this game. So
this crowd right now looks like Hoko with the sea of bodies, but definitely not the same energy right now with the result of this game.
Not at all. That's a fake handoff there to Pacheco up the middle, and he gets absolutely slammed there. And that's going to be good for a 2-3 yard gain there. It'll bring up 2nd down. Not the result you want, but it's not always about the results. It's sometimes about the process, and hopefully Coach Shine continues to utilize Pacheco, as they have struggled mightily through the air so far this game. And don't forget, folks, Pacheco can throw the ball. He is a running back and a receiver, of course, but he has thrown the ball in the past. He goes to practice and practices throwing the ball. So you never know what you're going to see out of this offense here as we go back to the Wildcat formation with Pacheco. And he's going to hand it off to Orsino, and Orsino cuts outside all the way up and absolutely drops a defender down to around the 41-yard line.
Love to see that out of Gio. keeping Pacheco in the game, you have to also remember they're only down by a touchdown right now, Richie. And as poor as they have played for their standards on offense, they have been the better offense somehow, some way in this game. And a lot of that coming off the back of Gio Ursino. I've said it all game. I don't think the strategy has to change. Get it to number 20, get them in different looks, keep this Pomona Pitzer defense off edge, because when they've been able to predict, they've been fantastic, especially against Joey Yellen.
Absolutely, and Pacheco's back in at quarterback under center, and he's gonna throw it, and that's caught by Zimmerman. And oh my goodness, what a block! And a flag comes in, but for now, this is gonna be a Panther touchdown, but there is a penalty on the play. And we're gonna wait here, folks. Don't wanna be too doom and gloom yet, but it looks like this one might just be coming back as the Panther offense walks back to midfield.
Holding offense, number 3. Hey, do this shit again! Spot of the foul.
And that is going to be yet another holding call on the Panther offense. This time the tight end, Quentin Biebel. And that is not what you want to see after a huge burst play for a touchdown there. That is just unacceptable.
And the biggest thing for the Panthers, it hasn't necessarily been these holding calls. It hasn't been pass interference, some real 50-50 ones. It's just been ill-fated, sometimes a little bit dumb in the mind. Right there, if you're Biebel, you're a team captain. You don't need a hold right there. The guy's already on the floor. Let him stay on the floor. You had 2 other blockers out there in front. Let Cade Zimmerman go to work.
Cade Zimmerman hands it off here to Gio Ursino for a very nice run. Very nice run, and the field judge has him at around the Sage Hen 47-yard line. Good enough to move the chains for Panthers first down. And, of course, that was another demoralizing moment, but the Panthers keep moving the chains here. Hoping to stick to that offensive philosophy still. 3 receivers, Gio Ursino in the backfield. Yellen still in the game here, and there's going to be a handoff to Gio Ursino, who gets a nice block, cuts it up the seam, and he's thrown down at around the 36-yard line, and the Panthers got to keep using this guy, Nico.
I mean, Gio Ursino, he may not be Ashton Jeanty at Boise State, averaging a first down per carry and having nearly 1,000 yards through 5 games, but he damn well knows how to run that ball, get chunk yardage, and when he's able to find the hole, that acceleration, like a true Panther, comes hard and quick. And we do see Fisher Huss, I thought that might have been Tyler Pacheco right next to Joey Yellen for a second, but Fisher Huss will come into the game for Gio Ursino as he takes a quick breath.
And Fisher Huss in the game, as Nico mentioned, and looks like we're going to go back to the air here as they bring the blitz, and that's going to be caught. Number 8, Amir Adams for a Panthers touchdown. And what a dot. We're not talking ice cream on that play. What a dot from Joey Yellen to Amir Adams, the superstar receiver.
Oh, what a throw. It almost touched the fingertips of Kalani Pickett. He had himself a first half. This time, I know for Amir Adams, after talking with him this week, that has to feel good. He knows how big this game is, and to get that touchdown, he's up to 6 total on the year. He's chasing that 10 touchdown mark as Jax Hudson makes it 2 for 2 on the extra points.
100%, and that is exactly what these Panthers needed to wake up, get the crowd into it, get us into it, get that sideline into it, and they respond there with a big score to Amir Adams.
The big time plays, that's what wakes up this crowd. I honestly would have said avoid those right now. Just get some chunk yardage, keep pounding it down the field like the Panthers in their heyday, the Carolina Panthers that was with Cam Newton in 2015. But right now, when you're able to get that chunk play the way that they have been with Gio Ursino, it opens up the pass as you see it again right here. Amir Adams to the rescue. Who else but the great number 8? And he gave the stare down to Pickett, who I'm sure had been talking to him a bit in that first half. He says, "You're not talking too much right now."
He is not talking too much right now, and I completely agree. Usually, we would say that this offense doesn't need those big shots right now, but you ran the ball twice with Ursino. Maybe the defense is expecting a run there, but you go through the air, and you get a big-time play from Yellen to Amir Adams. But for now, Panthers going to kick it off here. Jax Hudson, who we spoke to the other day, said he models his game after Greg the Leg Zerline, who's currently on the New York Jets, and Greg would approve of that kick because that is a deep kick there. Down to around the 14, and he's going to take it, get a few extra yards, and the field judge deep, and the Panthers 40 throws in a far penalty.
This one looks like it might actually be on Pomona for a change in this game. Duncan Lee with the return, and keep in mind, it was his pass interference call that kept that drive alive for Chapman. A questionable
There's
call,
no foul
you'd have
on
to
the
say.
play.
No foul on the play. I guess it looks like we're just throwing flags for free right now. I guess that just has gone into the mind, but as for Pomona, Nick Kim out there once again, it looks like that Sander Wimmer drive last time out did not go so well for them. We'll see if the Wimmer bros and Matthias Olsen can get anything going on the outside.
For sure, and they love that trips formation as they have trips right. Nick Kim back in the game, and they're going to throw a short pass, and he is absolutely pummeled there by the big linebacker, Alex Enriquez. And what a hit that was. You could hear that all the way from up in the booth, Nico.
Oh, he's coming with a vengeance right now. They won 41-20 last year in this game. They had outscored Pomona 62-20 in the entirety of their 2 games last year. He's trying to make sure this freshman knows exactly what's coming for him if he goes across the middle once more.
Absolutely. Nick Kim stays in the game for what seems like the first time all game, and we're going to see motion from trips. And again, another short pass, and again, this time caught, but another boom there, and that's Colin Keefe on the play. What an absolute hit, and if you're Nick Kim, you got to stop throwing these hospital balls to your guys.
The middle of the field, that's where they wreak havoc. If you had Kay Jordan out there, it'd be Tate Zimmerman inside along with Alex Enriquez. But if you get past them, you got to deal with Jacob Gowdy, one of our key players, and Colin Keefe. He was a first-team All-SCIAC player for a reason last year, making his presence known.
And 3rd down, Nick Kim's going to just dump it off, and that's going to be dropped. No good. And you're starting to feel, Nico, the momentum building in this stadium here as the fans are getting into it, the sidelines into it, and the Panther defense stops the Sage Hens here and forces the 4th down.
Defense has been out of this world throughout this 3rd quarter so far. Now, we need some more from the crowd. We'll see if this crowd can get into this game. We'll see if the Chapman offense can provide some stuff for it, because at the end of the day, it matters what your defense does, but they're going to get lit up when those touchdowns, those big highlight reel SportsCenter top 10 plays come on from the offensive side.
For sure, Amir Adams deep on the punt. Could use a big return here as he has some space. Amir Adams going to take the kick step back, and he's going to come up on it as he has some space, and a very solid return there for Amir Adams up to midfield as the Panther offense trots out, and Joey Yellen hopes to build off of that incredible dot to Amir Adams on that last drive.
Need discipline right here. Ill-fated penalties, illy timed penalties have been the killer for Chapman, especially the offense all night long. They had a drive where they had 3 straight holds. You cannot afford that. Thankfully for them, they were able to capitalize after Quentin Biebel cost them a touchdown to Cade Zimmerman earlier in the drive. Now, keep it clean. Keep it simple. They have the second receiver unit out there with Pacheco, Tawney, and Zimmerman at the top of your screen. Let's see if Coach Owens has something cooking in that playbook right now.
We're going to have to see Pacheco, Yellen under center. That's going to be a quick throw to the tight end there. Quentin Biebel, who had a few catches early but has not been utilized too much since the start of the 1st quarter, but we see an appearance for him on the catch here. Good enough up the seam for a Panthers 1st down. And I was about to say we had not seen him in quite some time, but it's good to see him utilized again. And Joey Yellen back in the game with Ursino in the backfield, and he's going to hand it off to Ursino up the middle, and the O-line definitely had some say on that one. Good for a 5-yard run up to the left hash at around the 32-yard line. 4 minutes and 59 seconds here in the 3rd quarter, a tie game. And Nico, if I'm the Panthers here, I'm going to keep running the ball. The clock is on your side. You got to trust your defense. Keep pounding that rock.
Punch it. That's all you have to say. Punch it with Ursino. He has the patience. He has the acceleration. He has the footwork to get past any of these front 7 defenders. And when you put him one-on-one with the DB, I like his chances.
Me too. And again, another handoff there for Ursino for about a 2-yard gain up to the 29-yard line, bringing up a 3rd and short situation where I wouldn't even mind if they ran it again here on 3rd down. This is 4-down territory, in my opinion. It's a bit of a deep field goal kick for Jax Hudson. So if you're the Panthers, just keep pounding the rock. Don't change your philosophy. I wouldn't be surprised if they go here with Ursino again. Try to force them off sides there with a strong cadence from Joey Yellen. And Joey Yellen telling his guys, hurry up, we got to go. And they go indeed. It's a pass with a blitz. And that's going to be caught right there. And he slips a tackle. And he's up to the 12-yard line. Good for a Panthers first down. That was Jason Bruce. Hasn't been utilized too much in today's game. Had the big penalty earlier, but he gets it back here with a big Panthers first down.
First catch of the game for Jason Bruce, listed as the wide receiver too. I spoke with him as well earlier this week. Selflessness, that's in this wide receiver room through and through.
And it looks like someone jumped there on the Panthers O-line. Yes, and indeed it is a false start for the Panthers.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
It's looking like that'll be a 5-yard penalty to send the Panthers backwards, but this drive has been wildly successful here for the Panthers thus far, and you got to keep pounding that rock. I would love to see Tyler Pacheco back in this game at some point, although Joey Yellen's still in the game here, telling his guys we got to go. This is going to be handed off, and it's going to be taken there for a few yards.
That's good to see from Fisher Huss. Missed the past few games with an injury. Great to see him out there back in the lineup, and a big-time addition as well. 27 guys, we learned this week, were out with sickness during those early week practices Monday and Tuesday. To get a guy like Huss back, especially when Andrew Latu, who we thought would be back in time, he's actually out tonight. So when you get your guy, Fisher Huss, shout out Troy High School, our very own Caroline Chang working up in the replay booths. Very own former classmate coming over to Chapman.
Well, there you go, Nico. And it's going to be another handoff to Fisher Huss, and he gets a very solid gain there on that 2nd down play, all the way up to around the 13-yard line. Give Ursino a little bit of a breather there. And speaking of Ursino, he's coming back into the game. Wouldn't be surprised again to see him run, even on a 3rd and long situation, although if they get that chance, I would absolutely love to see Joey Yellen get a chance one-on-one with one of these guys out here if they're on an island. But we're going to see what the Sagans have here on defense that might limit that from being able to happen.
Cade Zimmerman, bottom of your screen, solo coverage against Alex Wood, 6'3" for the Chapman receiver.
And exactly that, and they're going to go deep. And it looks like there's a little bit of contact there, and that is going to be a penalty more than likely on the Sage Hens. You had Zimmerman out there looking to draw some contact, looking to go up there and get the ball, and they might have just done so. Looks like this is going to be a penalty.
Pass interference, defense, number 2. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line.
And the ball is placed at the 2-yard line as it is a pass interference, and it's going to be candid here. Run the ball. Run the ball at the 2-yard line if you ever get a chance. We've seen a lot of teams, namely in the NFL, not run the ball when they're really close to being in the end zone. Famous example, of course, being in Super Bowl 49, where the Seahawks famously threw the ball at the 2-yard line, and we don't want to see a repeat of that right now, do we?
Tyler Pacheco in there. You have defensive linemen in there also for the Panthers. This is his territory.
Pacheco takes the direct snap, and he's going to run it and get stuffed up the middle. The Sage Hens are ready for that one, and that was just a direct snap. No design, no fakes, no motions, just a straight run up the middle for Pacheco, who is looking to stay in the game here. They're not going to bring Joey Yellen in, and if you're Coach Shine, maybe we're going to see a little bit of trickery here. Maybe we're going to see some motion, a fake handoff or two, and I wouldn't be surprised given how well adjusted the Sage Hens defense was on that last play. But
a bit surprised, though, not to see Ursino, and I think he would use his footwork very well here.
Yes, he would. But regardless, that's going to be he's going to be brought down at the half-yard line. The Sage Hens defensive front putting up a valiant effort here. and this is going to bring up third down. Of course, we are in 4-down territory, but we're going to see what the Panthers have for us here as Pacheco stays in the game once again. Fisher Huss being the feature back here with Orsino taking a long breather. You have two, it looks like D linemen here at fullback, and it's going to be another direct snap to Pacheco, and there's going to be a second push, and it looks like it's not good enough. Casey Shine runs roughly the same play with those two big fullbacks in 3 times in a row, and that was going nowhere. If you're the Panthers, or a fan for that matter, you're hoping to see a little bit of variance. And these Panther crowd is not happy about this. As the clock runs down to bring us to the 4th quarter, folks. We've had a good one in this quarter. And we're going to see exactly what Coach Bob Owens has for us on 4th down, whether that be a kick or just going for it. Nico, what would you do in this situation?
Well, first and foremost, just going back to the past 3 plays, I like the idea on 1st down. I would have liked to see Orsino, though, get back into that game. You kept the same exact formation out there, and Pomona, the thing that they do have, they have size in that front 7, and when you can bring in, when you see the jumbo package, defensive linemen coming in for the Panthers, they have big boys on that bench as well who can get out there and stuff the run. So right now, maybe a tush push. You saw it a lot with the Eagles last year. Jason Kelsey now retired, the famous center, Jalen Hurts at QB. A lot of Tyler Pacheco's runs come from the shotgun. So far, it hasn't worked. He's been trying to use that patience, but by then, this inexperienced O-line for Chapman, they're getting beat in the first push by that Pomona D-line. So maybe, just maybe, you bring back Yellen into the game. Maybe it's Gio Orsino, maybe it's a rollout, and you try and find Amir Adams on an out route. Either way, I think maybe you have to switch up the playbook because right now, and it does look like Tyler Pacheco will be staying on the sidelines for this one, but actually, mark my words, it's going to be a 4th and 1 on the half-yard line that they go to Jax Hudson after all of that.
They are going to the kicker after that very, very emotional and draining goal line stand, and I think these fans wanted a try from 4th.
We have seen, though, from this type of distance, Gio Orsino run it in for a 2-point conversion. Maybe Bob Owens has something up his sleeve here.
Well, let's take a look, and it's just going to be a straight kick there for Jax Hudson, and the kick is good, which gives the Panthers a lead. They're on a 10-0 run.
First lead of the night. And that's a big thing. At the end of the day, in this type of game, if you can win in any situation, the only game that they've lost, they were trailing at halftime to Whitworth. They were trailing at halftime here tonight, 14-7. As we mentioned, 10-0 run, Richie. Chapman, you have to feel somewhat good, but definitely things to improve on. I'm sure they'll look at that tomorrow in the film room, but right now, all that matters is 14:56 on that clock, and you need to hold on to a lead now. This is something that this defense can do very well.
Definitely. I'm glad you brought that point up, Nico. They'll definitely be watching a lot of film tomorrow, and Coach will be barking at them, but a win is a win, right? Game is not over, so can't say that yet, but regardless of the outcome of this game, a lot of film will definitely need to be watched from both sides. But as you mentioned, it is the Panthers' first lead of the game, which you got to be happy about if you're a Panthers fan or a Panthers player or coach out here tonight, because it looked earlier on in the game as if this might have gotten ugly really quick.
It never looked like it was going to slip out of their hands, but it definitely looked a little bit like that Cal Lou game where Cal Lou was able to keep it close, and it came down to the very last play. We'll see if Pomona can reapply the pressure the way they haven't in this second half.
What we're going to see here is Duncan Lee's brought down. It looked like there was perhaps a missed block in the back that wasn't called there. 84 wanted a penalty, but regardless, no penalty for what seems like the first time on a kickoff tonight, and that'll bring out the Sage Hens offense, and we never know who we're getting here. Last time they had ended the drive, they had their starter, Nick Kim, number 14 in the game, but we're going to see, it looks like Nick Kim is back out there on the field for the Sage Hens, and they love that trips formation there on the left, and we're going to see what they have cooking for us right now. Looking to get out to another lead as they lost it there to the Panthers again on a 10-0 run. And that's going to be a play that is just stopped by Alex Enriquez. And boy, we've been saying his name all game. We've been saying his name all game. This guy has been an absolute beast. Again, inching even closer and closer to being the second all-time leading Panthers tackler. This guy is going to be in the record books for years to come at this university. And he has been great here tonight. Nick Kim still in the game. Nick Kim is going to drop back to pass. He's looking right there, and it's caught. It's going to be caught for a few-yard gain, and he's still fighting for it. Almost loses the ball. That's the big number 44, Quentin Wimmer, who we have not heard his name too much as of late. He was big in the first quarter. Threw it to his brother, who then threw a touchdown earlier. But for now, Wimmer has been silent, and he gets a few yards on that play. It's a 3rd and short, 3rd and 3. Panthers, all of the momentum in the world. Alex Chirica has made a great play to start this drive. Let's see if he can come in here and make another play. Nick Kim still in the game, trips left. We're going to see, and he's going to check it off, and it looks like that's going to be caught short of the first down by Quentin Wimmer. And
what
it looks
a tackle. What a tackle by Jacob Gowdy, Richie.
What a tackle. We talked about Jacob Gowdy pre-game. The guy has been an absolute ball hawk, leading all of SCIAC in interceptions. And what a stand there for the Panthers, who have the lead and are now going to get the ball back on a 4th and 1 situation. Again, you never know with the trickery that has happened in this game, if they're going to fake it or not. I would wager that it is probably going to be punted off here. But Amir Adams is going to be deep. Number 8, trying to make a play here. And we're back off. And we're looking at a fair catch situation here. Amir Adams calls for a fair catch at around his own 33-yard line. Nico, what do we expect here to see from the offense after regaining the lead?
Well, before we get to the offense, quite frankly, a little bit surprised by John Walsh. I know you're around your own 30-yard line, but you're basically right there at the line to gain. I was surprised, maybe not put a Quentin Wimmer, maybe Sander Wimmer under center, do a Tyler Pacheco, and just go straight full send. Have some trust in your O-line, but we're past that. That's in history. As for this Chapman offense now, I feel like I'm just a broken record player right now, Richie. Just give it to Gio Orsino. He's been the main man for a reason, and Tyler Pacheco will be the one to come out, start this drive off. And when you're able to get it to Gio Orsino, that's when it opened it up for the likes of Cade Zimmerman and Amir Adams in particular in this second half.
100% Nico. Keep pounding the rock, and that's what they're going to do here. The handoff here to Orsino, who gets quickly, very quickly, stopped there, up for a yard or two. Number 51, Amaru Okona.
And I'll keep saying it, discipline, 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 most specifically for that offensive line. 4 of the offensive linemen tonight have been called for a penalty. Number 63, Harry Padell, in for number 62, Jess Norton at center. A big-time change with Tyler Pacheco under center.
Pacheco still in the game. Orsino, his back there. And he's going to give it again to Orsino, who's going to carry it midfield on the right hash for a few more yards. Don't hate the philosophy. Trust your defense, as I feel like I've said many, many times. But Joey Yellen is coming back into the game for presumably a passing situation. And, you know, with 2 runs in a row, you want to get it through the air. Don't hate this at all. Would not want to see another run on 3rd down, but we're going to see what Bob Owens and Casey Shine here have on 3rd down. A little bit more communication between the sideline. Joey Yellen, Gio Orsino. Orsino to his right. Joey Yellen will take the snap. Fake handoff. That's going to be number 2. It's going to be a screen pass, and he's going to bounce off the pass. That's Zimmerman, who's going to be stopped short. Just a few-yard gain, if that, short of the first down marker. So not exactly the success that the Panthers were looking for to get here, as we were hoping. If you're the Panthers, you want to extend the lead. You want to go up 10 or 11 even if you're feeling aggressive, but it's looking like the Sagehens are going to get the ball back here, Nico.
And guess who it was? Number 5 once more, lucky number 5, Joshua Yen. Having himself a day, usually as the backup safety, but he's made his name known here at Wilson Field tonight, most notably with that return of the blocked field goal.
Oh no,
and
it's another blocked punt. Another blocked punt off of a high snap. And you cannot let that happen if you're the Panthers. You have all the momentum. You're trying to pin them down in their own territory, and that is going to be the second blocked punt of the game, Nico.
That's going to be a sore subject in film school tomorrow. That absolutely will be. And if you're Carson Nichols, maybe a little bit's on there, but you also have to wonder, what is happening right now for this special teams in the blocking game? Pomona's been applying the pressure since the first one. They almost got blocked punts on the first two. Now they do have 2 blocked punts throughout this game. It's just been that Nick Kim and the rest of whoever's under center, I can't even say quarterbacks, haven't been able to capitalize on the offensive side, which is why Pomona still struggling and now losing.
Just miscommunication and very, very quick to be hit there, and that's going to be a 4 or 5 yard loss, and the Panthers were just all over that. That was a target to Quinn and Wimmer, and that's just going to be absolutely blown up, and the Panthers respond strongly there. Good stuff.
The biggest thing right there is that it pushes them back. It pushes them further and further out of field goal territory. Right now, 3 points separate both of these teams. If you have to make them go for it or have to make them punt, right now, Pomona has nothing going. They had 9 punts. They had 10 points last game against Redlands. Right now, they're on a similar trajectory. Jack Walker getting his money's worth here tonight with his leg.
Nick Kim takes a snap, and he's going to go deep. And that is going to be a pass interference call on number 1, Rennick Martin. And the Panthers are a little confused. It kind of looked like Wimmer just fell down there.
Interference, defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that is indeed a first down for the Sage Hens. You cannot have that happen, although it did kind of look like Quinn Wimmer just fell down there, but they have been very generous with distributing these flags here tonight, Nico.
Well, when you have 2 guys converging like that, Devin Cobb also near the play, but Rennick Martin, he just didn't get his head around it, looked like. It did look like Quinn Wimmer started to slip on his own, but there did seem to be enough contact there for the referees to say, you know what, it was a little bit more than what should be legal. We'll give it to Pomona's beneficial. Definitely a little bit of doubt on the Chapman side.
A bit, but he's going to stay in the game. He's looking for Wimmer down deep, and that is going to be incomplete. The coverage on Martin. And Wimmer's complaining to the field judge on that far side of the field. And it's going to be second down. Rennick Martin on the coverage gets one back on Quinn Wimmer, and you bet they're chirping all game as the top offensive weapon against our top cornerback here at Chapman University. And the 2 are one-on-one again. I would not be surprised if they go back to it. Again, Nick Kim's going to drop back, and that's going to be caught wide open for a touchdown. And oh my goodness, he was wide open, but there's a flag on the play. Excuse me, there's no flag on the play.
And that was the first real mental lapse that I've seen. It's arguably the worst from the Chapman defense here tonight. You saw it down on the bottom of your screen. Quentin Wimmer once again lined up with Rennick Martin for the 3rd straight play, but they just fell completely asleep. It looked like a screen setup for Pomona, but I'm not exactly sure what the Chapman DBs were doing on the far side. They just allowed 3 receivers to run through, and it allowed Sander Wimmer to go through the seam, and Jacob Gowdy was still several steps away when Sander Wimmer was the one to haul in his first receiving touchdown of the night.
Yeah, no idea what happened there. Against quite frankly, this Sage Hens team all season has not been the strongest passing team. And against a team that is not the strongest at passing, you got to guard the seam. You got to guard the middle of the field. If they're able to get some stuff on the sidelines on you, that's fine. That happens. But on a strong defensive lineup that Chapman has, with the defensive backs and linebackers that Chapman has, you cannot allow for a team like the Sage Hens to exploit you up the seam. But regardless, short-term memory here for these Panthers as the Sage Hens are going to kick it off, and now you need 4 points. A field goal will not suffice here if you're the Panthers. You got to score a touchdown. You got to go down and get 6 or 7 points. And we're going to see what Bob Owens and his staff have in store for us as we have 9 minutes and 50 seconds. If you're just joining us, folks, Richie Amarias and Nico Schwegler here on the call for these Panthers here at Wilson Field in Orange, California, Chapman University. Been a good game, especially in the second half, and that's going to be taken out there by John Lagerman, who stays on his feet, and he's going to get a little more yardage as he's pushed out on the far side of the field around the 35-yard line, which will bring the Panthers back out on offense. Joey Yellen in that bunch.
And special teams now starting to get a bit chippy on both sides of the ball. A few extracurriculars happening after each punt, after each kickoff. But if you're Chapman, you cannot allow Pomona to get in your head. Pomona, they're going to try and play the instigator right now. Why not? All the flags have been flying against Chapman for ill-advised penalties. And now, for Chapman, I'm just going to continue to say it, Richie. Discipline. Every single play has to be a disciplined play. Now with Tyler Pacheco and 2 backs to his side.
Oh no, and it's another miscommunication, and it's like they heard what you said, Nico, and did the exact opposite, because that was
I apologize for the announcer's jinx, Richie.
It's okay, Nico. It's all good.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And that is a 5-yard penalty with a false start there from one of those backs in the backfield. I like the idea to have 2 men there in the backfield, as they've had a lot of success on plays like that so far this season in Coach Shine's offense. But Yellen's going to take it, and he's going to roll out and look for someone, and just going to throw it away. No life there on that play. That penalty just seemingly demoralized the Panthers, even though it is only 2nd down. There's a lot of opportunity here, but again, you cannot go away from your identity. You have some of the best playmakers in all of SCIAC, whether it be Pacheco, whether it be Zimmerman, whether it be one of your other guys. You have guys that will make plays for you. Slow it down, relax if you're the Panthers. Let yourselves get acquainted to the circumstances of the game and make plays and be disciplined. That's all they need right now. And Yellen's going to hand it off to Ursino, who gets a cut up the middle. And what a run there by Ursino, who bounces off of a few tackles all the way up to the 40-yard line with a great run. On 2nd and 19, he gets up about 17 or 18 yards on that carry, and they got to run it again with him.
3rd and 1 now after that big-time play from Gio Ursino. I like their chances. Go back to him. He's been finding the hole if this O-line can hold up.
And they're going to give it back to Ursino, and the O-line does indeed hold up, and Ursino drives himself forward. Good for a Panthers first down.
But going back a few plays to that rollout with Yellen, it's been working to perfection for them almost all season long. They've been able to find the crossers, the corner route, that comeback route that they really like with Jason Bruce. But so far, against this zone defense for Pomona, they've just been disciplined, and nobody's been getting open. And with Yellen's lack of mobility compared to a Tyler Pacheco or Nathaniel Espinoza outside of the pocket, you're having to see him throw it away quite a bit in this matchup, about 3 of those already.
Quite a bit, but it looks like they're going to go back to the run here, and that is indeed Gio Ursino, who gets a few blocks and is going in to Sage Hen territory all the way up to around the 36-yard line. Good for a Panthers first down. And we talked about it, Nico. Be disciplined, stick to that run, and that is what they have been doing so far this drive. Gio Ursino has been an absolute beast on the ground thus far.
Unreal running from Gio Ursino in this game. 24 attempts on the ground, 108 rush yards. Not to mind you, that receiving touchdown that got Chapman on the scoreboard in the first place. Now they need him through and through in this last 7:48.
Joe Yellen takes a snap and hands it off again to Ursino, but there's a penalty in on the play coming in from the field judge behind the line of scrimmage. And you got to wonder, with all the penalties, with the flurry of penalties tonight, is that going to be on the Panthers, and is that going to send them back even more? We'll just have to wait and see. Looks like Jess Norton wagering with the refs.
Holding offense, number 75. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's going to be Gavin Scott, the junior, there on another holding penalty. And after a big play there, a few big plays from Ursino, not what you want to see from the Panthers, but it's only first down, excuse me. And Joey Yellen's back in this ball game. Looking to pass here, I would expect, although you never know with this Casey Shine offense. And Yellen's going to take the snap and does indeed hand it off to Ursino, who gets some very nice blocks. Going to get about 10 yards on that play, all the way up to the 41-yard line. And Gio Ursino just continues to be absolutely dominant in this game, well over 100 rushing yards, not to mention, as Nico mentioned just a few plays ago, that play earlier in the game where he scored that big touchdown that got the Panthers on the board for the first time. But that's going to bring up 2nd and 13, another possible run situation. But Orsino's out of the game here. And we're going to see what they do. It's a very interesting situation. With Orsino out of the game, probably not gonna have as much success there up the run, but you gotta trust your O-line here, who's been blocking pretty much to perfection this entire drive aside from a penalty. And run exactly is what they do there. Thoughts on the carry. It's gonna be close to a first down.
The 38-yard line, it's third down.
So not quite close to a first down, but that'll bring up 3rd down and 10 here, and you're going to have to pass, I assume. You're going to have to pass. There's 6 minutes and 22 seconds left in this ball game. It might be 4-down territory if you're the Panthers, just because that last drive is not promising defensively. So we're going to see what they're going to do here on 3rd down with 6 minutes and 10 seconds left in the ball game. And Joey Ellen's going to step back after a blitz, and he's just going to throw it up. And that's going to be easily intercepted by the Sage Hens. And oh my goodness, just an absolute bomb up to the Sage Hens. That's going to be oh my goodness. Number 3, Kalani Pickett, once again, just having an excellent game. And the Panthers need to stop here.
Miscommunication once again. You saw Bruce. It seemed like his route intended for him to stop on a dime, be able to come back over the cross of the middle of the field. Instead, Yellen floats it up, and it was just in no man's land except for the one man that mattered for Pomona, Kalani Pickett. Now Pomona, they have Xander Wimmer in the backfield. Let's see if this Chapman defense can get a big-time stop.
Xander Wimmer out of the backfield, and he gets a good run there. Alex Tarica is on the blitz, and that's going to be good for 9 yards. Excuse us. Quentin Wimmer.
Tough to tell with the brothers.
The brothers. Cannot tell with the brothers. Both of them are very dominant. But you saw there on the last play, Tarico's was bought in on a blitz, which prevented him from being able to stop that play earlier. And it's looking like it's going to be a timeout here.
And usually you wouldn't want this if you're Bob Owens. In this type of game, 5:46, you want to save your timeouts for that last second drive at the end of the game. Maybe get something out of your defense, especially when it's been the run game that's carried you through this matchup. But after that first down run from Quentin Wimmer, you need something for your defense. You cannot allow them to get gassed as well. But on the offensive side, something's not working. Something's got to give. I suggested maybe Luke Peterman could come into the game. It might be a little late for that with the way that they've been playing. Who knows? Maybe Tyler Pacheco starts throwing the ball. Maybe we even see Nathaniel Espinoza or AJ Perez get their first shot this season. But I do expect Joey Allen to start this game, close this game. But right now they need a defensive stop from Alex Tarica as Tate Zimmerman and those boys out there in black.
So it's absolutely mandatory to get a stop here. No more than 3 points, preferably 0 here for this Panthers defense. We're going to see what David Bishop draws up here to try to stop the bleeding. That was a very solid run there. Of course, they have 4 receivers out left with Quentin Wimmer taking the snap, and he's going to throw it there. And he's going to throw it right there. Tarica is on the tackle to his brother, Xander Wimmer, who's going to get a solid gain for about 4 or 5 yards there up to the 49-yard line.
And I'm not quite sure what happened with Chapman right there. I was pointing that out to you, Richie. 4 guys all on the left side of Wimmer when he took the snap. There were only about 3 guys in black on that side of the field. Everyone loading the box. Thankfully for them, you got Alex Tarica sprinting out there going sideline to sideline like Fred Warner. And thankfully, they're able to keep that at a manageable load as this 2nd and 5 commences up here.
Yeah, that could have been really bad for the Panthers. That could have gone all the way for all we know with Quentin Wimmer's dominance. And we got trips right, and they're going to run it there again with Quentin Wimmer, who's going to get stopped there. A bunch of Panthers swarming him at around the 51-yard line for a 2-yard gain, and this is going to bring up probably the play of the game here. If you're the Panthers, you absolutely need a stop here so that you can give your offense a chance here with 4 minutes and 39 seconds left in the ball game. As we see, they're talking it up a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout called, although the offense is huddling up. They had Quentin Wimmer taking the snaps in the last few drives as this Panther crowd is starting to get loud as the sideline is getting pumped up. This is the biggest play of the game, and if you're the Panthers, you need a lockdown for this play here. And number 2 is just sprinting out there to cover the man, and this is going to be taken by number 12, Wimmer, and he is swarmed down by the Panthers for a loss. And that is exactly what these Panthers needed. That is exactly what David Bishop needed to draw up there on a crucial third down play. And this is going to give the Panthers a chance to get the ball back.
What a pursuit from this D-line. Kyle Seaman all over it like he's been all season long. Got to give a shout out to Zach Collins, Hunter Wickham with the finishing of the tackle. Now, you have to give Amir Adams a chance. We'll see if he's able to do anything going forward for the Chapman punt team. He had a punt return touchdown to 60 yards, the first since 2016 by a Chapman player. Now, the chance with all eyes on him. Two gunners on the left side. Not used to seeing this type of formation in punts.
Not at all, but number one beats a man there. That's Amir Adams there. He's going to call for a fair catch, and so Amir Adams does not quite get the chance to shine, but this is it, Nico. 3 minutes and 19 seconds left. Chapman has 2 timeouts. It all comes down to this, and this is why we watch and play the game for moments like these.
Think about this. 13 penalties, 128 yards lost for Chapman, but you also have to take a look at time of possession. They came into this match averaging 34 minutes a game, 5th in the nation. I'm sure that average will go up as they're over 40 with 3:19 left in this matchup. Just 16:35 on the clock for Pomona on that offensive side. Joey Yellen, now's your time, my brother. Let's see what you have in store.
Let's see what Joey Yellen has in store as he drops back to pass on the first play of the drive, and that is nearly intercepted there as number 6, Tyler Pacheco, trips on himself there, and that was a very dangerous throw to be throwing over the middle of the field for Joey Yellen, but you kind of got to go to the air at this point just because running the ball drains the clock, and you only have 2 timeouts. But that timeout that was used earlier by Coach Bob Owens ended up being useful as the Panthers got out of a quick jam there. But it's looking like Joey Yellen's going to be in the game and in the pass. Ursino in the backfield as he takes the snap. Former D1 quarterback is looking there, and that is going to be a pass incomplete intended there for the tight end, Quentin Biebel, and that was very fast. 3rd down and 10, and they got to get it. If there's a one-on-one matchup, trust one of your speed guys. Trust the arm of this former D1 player who has the arm. He just needs the time in the pocket, the protection, and he can make it happen. Well, we're going to see what we got here. Joey Yellen is going to step back, and he's going to throw it, and that's going to be caught. That is caught by the tight end, Quentin Biebel. We heard his name a lot at the beginning. Got called for a brutal penalty earlier, and now he is back and better than ever. Perfect ball placement there by the quarterback, Joey Yellen, and that's going to move the sticks up here for the Panthers, and they absolutely needed that one.
Needed it. Now you got to go. Let's see if Gio Orsino's a factor in the run game.
You got to go, and that's a handoff there to Gio Orsino, who stumbles forward all the way up to around the 47-yard line with 2 minutes and 32 seconds left in the game. You got to get another playoff if you're the Panthers here.
And wide receiver switch now. You bring out the top unit with Amir Adams, John Lageman, Jason Bruce. A little bit surprised to see them not as much in this second half as you would think, especially with how tightly contested this game has been, and Chapman down by 4.
Absolutely, and that's going to be another handoff there to Ursino, who spins down, and that's going to take us down to the 2-minute warning as the time is ticking down here, and that'll bring up a 3rd down in short situation. Of course, we're now in 4-down territory, and Nico, we're in crunch time now. What do we expect to see for these next possible 1 to 2 plays?
Well, I was saying Gio Orsino through and through. Maybe you go to him on this 3rd and short, try and power it through. But you have 2 timeouts. There's 2 minutes remaining in this game. At some point, I'm not saying you have to go for the deep shot like they did earlier in the match, but you do need to start getting chunk plays down the field and see what you can get against this Pomona secondary, because so far in this game, they've been very, very solid. And as for Pomona, in 4 of their 5 games entering tonight, they've allowed less than 20 points. Right now, Chapman at 17. If they get a touchdown, which they need, you can't settle for a field goal. That'll make it over 24. And so we'll see what's in store. Joey Yellen gets his curtain call, like Stephen Hogenkamp said at Kalu for homecoming. Now he gets another shot against this crowd, against Pomona Pitzer.
We'll absolutely see. And for Joey Yellen, this game and this season means a lot. He's been bouncing around for the past 6 collegiate seasons, of course. Started at ASU, competed with Jaden Daniels, who's now on the Commanders, and he's been bouncing around and hoping to find a home. And in his 6th college season, he's hoping to find a spark here and find a home and hopefully find a vintage moment in him right now.
DBs for Pomona playing off the receivers, see something in the middle of the field. I like Loggeman's chances.
That's going to be a handoff there to Ursino. And it looks like, oh, I don't know. Is that going to be a first down? It's looking like on our side of the field, the judge is going to signal that it.
I do believe one raised up a 1.
Raised up a 1.
But right now, the chain's not moving right now, Richie.
I'm seeing the referee's motion for a first down. It looks like it's going to be a Panthers first down. And no one's moving the chains with a bit of miscommunication right now on the call.
And thankfully for Chapman, that clock stopped at 1:54. Definitely a big-time play for them. We're under 2 minutes here at Wilson Field, Richie, and I do like the play call. Give it to Gio Orsino, pick up the yards, allow yourself to reset with a fresh set of downs. As you see it here, just using all that lower body strength. He's used it all night long to power through all those offensive and defensive linemen. Pomona thought they had the chance, but now Chapman knocking on the doorstep. They're actually going to bring out the chains for this one.
And we're going to see here just what we're working with as the field judges bring down the chains. And both teams are going to be hoping here, and it looks like it's going to be a fourth down, excuse me. And this is now the most important play of the game as they're short by just a few inches. And luckily for the Panthers, you have the best running back one of the best running backs in all of Division III and the best running back in Skyak, who has had one of his best games of his career. So I would assume that's the direction they go, but it's starting to get loud here, folks, down at Ernie Chapman Stadium in Wilson Field. And Yellen's in the game. He's going to hand it off to Gio Ursino, who's going to get a first down. Again, the clock is going to be running here in a second, so they got to hurry up.
And that was the game right there. For Chapman, it's 4-down territory, and you have to convert. If they didn't right there, they only have 2 timeouts. Pomona can just kneel it out in victory formation. Have to go right now.
Have to go, and you have to throw here for Joey Yellen. And he's going to drop back. He has to step up as he's avoiding a sack, and that was almost caught there by Gio Orsino. Great play by the quarterback to step up and avoid the sack there. And if he got sacked, that would take more time off the clock, and he would lose yardage. So very smart play there by Joey Yellen, the veteran.
Veteran play indeed, Richie. You could not afford the sack there, and I like the dump off to Orsino. Even if it doesn't mean you get extra yards, you cannot afford to take that loss of extra yardage. Big time play from Joey Yellen. And it looks like Amir Adams is coming out.
Big time play there by Joey Yellen, despite it not being much of a play at all, as it was an incomplete pass. But we're going to see what they have for us here on second down. And Joey Yellen's going to step up, throws over the middle, and what a catch there, thrown behind him. That was an incredible catch. And they got to hurry up here. That was number 11, John Loggeman, there up the seam. And that was an absolutely incredible catch right behind him. That was an absolute dart. And the Panthers have got to hurry up as 1 minute and 15 seconds are left on the clock. 3rd and 1 here, situation where you have got to get a first down. And it looks like they do with Gio Orsino all the way up to the 30-yard line. And the clock's going to keep on running unless the Panthers call a timeout here.
And actually, with college rules, the clock does stop when you get a new set of downs. A big-time factor. Actually, the clock will continue to run on the ref's whistle. But the biggest thing for Bob Owens, you can use your timeouts whenever you like. You don't need to save one for that last-minute field goal because they need to go all the way down to that end zone and score.
They do. Joey Yellen takes the snap, and he's going to step back. Looking there, checks it down to Gio Orsino, who cuts it upfield, and he's going to get thrown down to around the 22-yard line. And that was an incredible play there by Gio Orsino, who was able to avoid a tackle and get up there all the way up the middle. And it looks like the Panthers are going to call a timeout there on the play. And, you know, you never feel good being down 4 with only 40 seconds to go on a timeout. But on a different note, with a little bit of a sense of optimism, you have to feel very good if you're the Panthers about this drive so far. One of the most successful drives of the game. They just got to finish it, Nico.
Maybe they should have been doing this all game long, Richie. Go hurry up. Right now it's keeping Pomona off ease. They don't seem to have the same type of edge that they've had throughout this game. As Joey Yellen taking that deep drop back. He's not taking any chances unless he's willing to step up and make a play with his feet, instead allowing his playmakers. We talked about it through and through this game. Talent without discipline is only potential, in the words of Casey Shine. There's a lot of potential out there for a potential touchdown. We'll see if the talent comes through or if the discipline will continue to haunt the Panthers as this game wanes on with 40 seconds left, Richie.
We'll certainly see here a 2nd and 2 with 40 seconds left in this ball game. And a little communication going on between the sideline and the quarterback here as Ursino switch sides from the right to the left. Looking to be a blocker here more than likely for Joey Yellen. And that's going to be actually a handoff. Handoff there to Gio Ursino on 2nd down and 2. And Panthers got to hurry it up here as they only have 1 timeout left, and I'm assuming they don't want to use it already. Although the Panthers actually take their last timeout here, which, very interestingly enough,
they're saying that they didn't.
They're saying there's no timeout. Excuse us. Chapman first down there. That was very confusing, but
have to go though. The clock is still ticking.
The clock is still indeed ticking. Chapman still maintains possession of 1 timeout, and here we go. Joey Yellen takes the snap. He's going to throw it out there. Incomplete pass. It's number 3, Quentin Beeble, I believe. Yes, Quentin Beeble out there. And that is all right. You're okay with that if you're the Panthers. That stops the clock with 22 seconds left. You're so close. You're pretty much in the red zone. In fact, you are in the red zone there with just 22 seconds left. Nico, what do we want to see here for these Panthers?
156 rush yards for Gio Ursino, but now's not the time. Now you need one of these receivers to gain any separation, either middle of the field or, most ideally, towards the end of those sidelines. You have Tyler Pacheco up top, Cade Zimmerman closest to the near side.
Yes, and we see that here. They're going to go, and they're going to go for a one-on-one ball. Right there, and that is going to be caught. That is going to be caught. They're saying it's incomplete. They're saying it's incomplete, though, and it's incomplete. He looked like he had it for a moment there. Excuse me, folks. That was Tyler Pacheco on the target. It looked for a second that he had it, but as we watch the replay there, the one-on-one, where, oh my goodness, I don't know.
It looked like he initially was able to keep possession, but once again, Kalani Pickett getting his hands in there seemed to jar that ball loose, and when Tyler Pacheco hit the ground, it seemed like he lost control of that ball. That's ultimately why they called it an incomplete pass. Otherwise, Chapman could have been walking away from here with the win after that.
They would, but we're going to see what they have for us on 3rd down. Yellen's going to step back, and he throws it up, and that's incomplete to Quentin Beeble, and oh, what an emotional roller coaster this has been at the beginning of the game, from Chapman starting off looking lost to them going on a 10-0 run to getting the lead, them relinquishing the lead on a miscommunication up the seam on that last drive, and scoring what seemed like a touchdown to Tyler Pacheco on the one-on-one, but no dice, and now that brings up 4th down and 10. Most important play of the game. Joey Yellen's going to step back. He steps up, and he's going to take it himself. Joey Yellen's going to take it himself. And he's going to get decked. Short of a 1st down. That is short of a 1st down, but there's a penalty marker on the near side of the field. And we're going to see who this is up against.
Holding offense, number 57. That penalty has been declined. The runner did not reach the line to gain. Result of the play, 1st down.
And that, folks, is going to be the ball game. Doesn't matter, penalty or not. Joey Yellen on the scramble is going to be short of a 1st down there. And Nico, as we talked about it all game, the undisciplined, the mistakes, the lack of discipline, rather, excuse me, and the mistakes is what cost this Chapman team in the end.
Well, as we get to see it, it looks like it'll be number 17. Excuse me, actually, it'll be Nick Kim to take it in victory formation for Pomona Pitzer. Devastating loss, you'd have to say, for Chapman, but you can't say it's necessarily due to the undoing of what Pomona Pitzer's offense had done to them. Ultimately, it was their penalties, it was their mistakes, and this is a tough one to swallow, especially considering after that dominating win against CMS in the Surf Division, Nick Kim closes it out. Pomona Pitzer advances to 4-2. So does Chapman, as they will fall with their second loss of the season. Any chance of reaching the top 25 seems like it's far out of reach right now because of what a performance from especially this Pomona Pitzer special teams when it was the mistakes all night long in the discipline. What a way to end it. What a way for it to finish for Chapman, fittingly on a penalty.
Absolutely. What a fitting way to end this game indeed. I mean, Nico, to say that Chapman was undisciplined in this game is quite honestly an understatement. I don't know the exact number of penalties they had, but it was more than 10. I know that for a fact. And if you're Coach Bob Owens in the film room tomorrow, you have got to be on these guys for their performance tonight. I mean, again, it was not necessarily at the doing of the Pomona Pitzer offense. It was a lot of self-inflicted wounds, unfortunately, for the Panthers.
Self-inflicted wounds all night long, Richie. It was just kind of devastating, a little bit dejecting to watch as a fan, as well as probably those players down there on the field. They had to feel good about where they were coming into this week. You beat your biggest rival in CMS, especially considering it's in the Surf Division, 41-13, as well as the fact that CMS earlier tonight won 57-14 over Laverne. That is a massive win for them going ahead in the conference, especially considering that those two teams match up once again here at Wilson Field in 2 weeks' time. But as for Chapman, self-inflicted wounds all night long. We're going to continue to mention it like broken record players, but really there's no other way to describe it, Richie.
There's no other way to describe it, especially the self-inflicted wounds feel even more surprising considering just how historically dominant this Chapman team has been. Again, we talked to Coach Shine the other day, and he talked about how this team cared about the little things, right? Cared about being disciplined, right? And we just, quite frankly, didn't see that today. And this was one of the, again, this team has been one of the most historically dominant in Chapman's history with 33 points a game, allowing only 20 points a game. As we take you down here to this graphic, which shows you some of the full game stats, of course. 3 touchdowns to just the Panthers, 2. And what I want you folks to see here is the absolute insane discrepancy in between yardage. The Pomona Pitzer Sagehens only accumulated 171 yards, and the Panthers accumulated nearly 450. So it's quite a surprising result to see the Pomona Pitzer Sagehens come out on top.
Devastating, and arguably the most important stat that's not even on there, the fact that Pomona Pitzer 16:37 in time of possession. Guess how much Chapman had? 43-23, nearly 10 minutes more than their average on the season, and yet somehow they only come away with 17 points, their lowest of the season. But immense credit to this Pomona Pitzer defense, John Walsh, and the stuff that his defense did tonight. They kept Joey Yellen as well as the rest of this Chapman's offense at bay all night long, and they have something to celebrate headed back to Pomona here tonight on that bus ride.
Absolutely, Nico. John Walsh should be extremely proud of his defense and how they played tonight. It was just suffocating to see Joey Yellen just do his very best, but it just was not enough tonight as we see both teams there in a prayer circle. And we see some of the highlights from today's game, the Wimmer brothers all the way down to Matthias Olsen. That was one of the biggest plays of the game and the biggest reception of his career there.
And his only catch of the game as well, 75 yards. On that one reception alone, he beat out his season average per game. Quite the way to do it. But as for Gio Orsino, he was really the lone star of this team tonight. Over 150 rushing yards, 1 touchdown that you see there on the receiving end. But it was special teams. We're going to be talking about them for sure as this season wanes on. Carson Nichols, 2 blocked punts. I'm sure that whatever's happening in that special teams unit needs to be fixed. They work on kickoffs. They work on punts every single practice. Maybe need to dedicate a little bit more time to those in this next week.
They absolutely do. And although this was a loss for the Panthers, there were some very great defensive highlights, of course, right there for the Panthers. We had an interception. And another one, of course, they take it back from Joey Yellen. It's just this game had so many turnovers and so many muffed moments from both sides. However, of course, Pomona Pitzer comes out on top here. See another highlight from the game. That is the big Alexander Enriquez one of the all-time leading tacklers for the Chapman Panthers, number 0. We were calling his name a lot tonight, Nico, that's for sure. A valiant effort from him.
And he moves 4 tackles away from reaching 250 in his college career, Richie, now.
Absolutely, and he will reach that at some point this season. And that was Amir Adams on a touchdown there, which was much needed at the time. And this was an absolutely confusing play as no one was guarding the seam there. It seemed that the Panthers had some sort of miscommunication on that play right there, Nico.
And it was really devastating to watch. Joey Yellen, the last-ditch effort, ultimately called back by a holding. And we spoke with Coach Casey Shine earlier this week. We asked the reason why Luke Peterman was not in the lineup anymore at starting QB. They said turnovers. Now, 4 interceptions on the year for Joey Yellen. We'll see, maybe, is Peterman going to come back after this? Maybe Tyler Pacheco takes some snaps. Maybe even you go even deeper with Nathaniel Espinoza, very talented quarterback in that roster, as well as AJ Perez, the USD transfer who came over from D1. We'll see how far they'll reach into their bag of tricks.
I mean, for me, if you're the Panthers, you got to go with Peterman. You got to go with Peterman after that. Joey Yellen, he's had some great games. Last game, he was great again with a 76% completion percentage, 13 for 17, a great game. But after this loss, which was quite frankly humiliating for the Panthers, you got to switch it up. Peterman, he got hurt, brought Yellen in. That's great, but he won. He performed well during the time that he was playing for these Panthers, and he led the Panthers to a SCIAC championship last year. So we're hoping, if you're a Panthers fan, that he'll recapture some of the magic and bring him back in.
Well, you get a tough matchup next week against Cal Lou. Obviously, that was a little bit closer than we thought it might be on homecoming. Last year, they kind of broke the brakes off of them. 38-10 here at Wilson Field. Although I will say, this was the first loss to a SCIAC opponent since they lost at Cal Lutheran in Thousand Oaks last season. So big-time win for Pomona Pitzer. Definitely need to go back to the drawing board if you're Chapman. Bob Owens, Casey Shine, David Bishop, a lot of things on their mind after tonight. That film room session, I'm sure, will be tense tomorrow with a lot of critiques after tonight's matchup.
It will be tense, especially with that special teams unit, which allowed 2 blocked punts, but also almost allowed another 2 blocked punts.
It was unbelievable.
It seemed like there was some sort of miscommunication all game, of course, but on the punting unit specifically, there was something going on. And even though we do criticize the Panthers, there was a lot of good. Gio Orsino, the man of the hour, despite the loss, he should be absolutely proud of himself. Carried this Panthers offense today, over 150 rush yard, had the receiving touchdown earlier in the game.
And they're going to need him next week against Cal Lou. That was definitely a struggle point. Cal Lou was able to go toe-for-toe with him in that loss during homecoming. We'll see if they get the best of them at Thousand Oaks, but looking ahead, final home matchup of the regular season for Chapman against CMS. As we mentioned earlier, the Stags ended up beating Laverne Leopards 57-14 earlier tonight. What a massive win for them, coming off that 41-13 loss to this Chapman side last week on their own home turf. If they're able to come in and get a win, they haven't beaten them in 3 straight. That puts a lot of jeopardy for Chapman's chances at repeating as SCIAC champions once again. And then you have to go to Laverne. Maybe not the hardest opponent, but never easy going against a very good opponent on the road. But we're going to toss it down to our very own Angela Hara down on the sidelines with our very own MVP of the game.
Richie, Nico, I'm with the MVP himself, Kalani Pickett, cornerback for the Pomona Pitzers. Kalani, I have to ask you, last season this was a different story with Chapman. Now you're on Chapman's turf. Was this a revenge game?
I wouldn't say revenge. They're a great football team. They played great. I think we just found a way to win. I love our team. Our team played great.
Great to hear. And I want to talk about you personally because I have some impressive stats from you. 2 solo tackles, an interception later. What was your personal motivation during this game?
They have great receivers here. I knew it would be a test. Their quarterbacks, both of them, all 3 of them, they're a great team. They threw the ball well. I mean, our D-line forced them out of the pocket. Our linebackers fence posted perfectly. I mean, they gave me opportunities to make a play, so I don't think it was just me.
That's great. So team effort?
Yeah.
Totally. Well, enjoy that win, Kalani. Thank you so much for the interview. MVP Kalani Pickett, number 3 for Pomona Pitzers. Coming back to you guys.
Absolutely. Kalani Pickett, he was just great all game. had quite a few great plays. He just defined this absolutely incredible Sage-Hens defense tonight, Nico.
He was greatness, and he mentioned it. Great receivers on the Chapman side, Jason Bruce, Amir Adams, John Loggeman. He had his fair share against all of them, and he handled them well. He allowed that one touchdown to Amir Adams. I told him earlier in the game, it doesn't look like you're talking much now, but at the end of the game, he was the one writing off the final bonus on that check, and he has something to hold his hat on as he exits this field.
Absolutely. It was an incredible time with you folks here tonight. My first broadcast here with CSBN. It was an absolute joy to be here with all of you to watch a great match. At first, it looked like it was going to maybe get it a little bit out of hand, but ended up going all the way to the end. Any final remarks, Nico?
Nothing else. But now Chapman has to respond. Pomona, they're definitely the cream of the crop in that Sun division. We'll be excited if these two meet up once again in another SCIAC Championship title game. Perhaps here, perhaps at Pomona. Either way, we'll see what happens.
We'll absolutely see what happens. It's been a joy, folks. Richie Amarish and Nico Schwegler, talented Angie Hara down on the sidelines. Thank you, folks, and you have a great night.